Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone to the 29th pod of Birth Life Story Circle, the pod that connects one life to the other. I'm your host and host, Sneha Bakkal, who flows with you in your journey of pregnancy, labor, birth, and postpartum, hence a certified birth doula and a traditional birth attendant. Our today's guest is our very dear, special Meagan Pandian, a warm person and a dear co-homeschooler mom. She's a harpist and she runs Harp India. Uh, I think that's an organization. And she's very compassionate mom, very giving and loving and caring. A believer that women should be birthing respectfully with female companions around. And with that, I welcomed Meagan. Meagan,
Thank you, Sneha. So happy to be
thank you
doing this.
so much for taking out that time and just from your busy schedule to joining in and sharing your precious birth stories. So Meagan, how we work, like how we narrate the birth stories is like you start all of your pregnancy journeys. You share their birth experiences, and then eventually you talk about your latest. I would not say last, latest birth, pregnancy and birth story. Okay, so here's your platform, Meagan.
Okay. So can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So well, um, Shalom was my firstborn. He was born on first Feb 2020, and you know when I got to know that I'm expecting, I started reading about what to expect because new mom, first time mom, didn't know anything, and I was so new to the whole aspect of motherhood. I had never, I mean, I had two siblings younger than me, but I was 5 and 6 when they were small, so I really don't remember anything almost. So growing up, never really been around babies, never heard any stories about mothers in labor or anything except for random visits to relatives when they had their babies. We would go visit them, and you'd see the mother in her bed and this baby in a cradle, and that's the only image I grew up with as a teenager. And now, being a first time mom myself, I thought, okay, I should be a little bit more prepared. So I started reading, and I found books by Ina May Gaskin online. So I remember reading all about birth village and how women give birth. And there's always those chapters about the cesarean section, and I thought that will never be me. I mean, I will not have a C-section. So I would kind of fast forward those parts because I was so sure I would have a normal delivery. And I was going to a gynac who actually, now when I come to think of it, I was not really comfortable with him. But my husband and me. I'm born and brought up in Mumbai, but my husband's from Coimbatore, and there's a difference between 21 years between him and his youngest sister, and she was born in Mumbai with this particular gynac's mom. They are a generation of gynacs. So my husband was like, look, I know this person. He's a very renowned gynac. My sister was born with his mom. Now he's practicing. We should go to him. He's trustworthy, and it's not one of these hospitals where they're more likely to push you for cesarean section. It's a private clinic. It's their own clinic. It'll be fine. And even though I was not so comfortable going with this gynac, I still went because I didn't know anything apart from what I was told. So since they had an experience of one birth with him, and it ended up being a natural birth, I thought, okay, let's go with makes sense. Private clinic. We've had a previous child born in this with this doctor's family. So I would go, and he wanted me to see him every month, like just come every month, and then eventually towards the latter months, every 2 weeks. And I would go every time, and he would just do the sonography check. They had a basic sonography set up in their clinic. So he
The
would,
Doppler.
yeah, the Doppler. So he would do that. He would check, okay, everything's fine, and our whole appointment would be done in 5 minutes, because that's he would not speak more than 2 words, this way or that way. Even if I asked a question, one word answer or 2 word answers. So I was not exactly comfortable, but okay, my husband was like, look, he kind of convinced me, and I got convinced, unfortunately. So we went with him, and towards the latter month, I remember us thinking, look, in that Iname Gaskin's birth village, they had so many different things for a woman to do if she needed this support or that support. So I asked, can I see the the facility. So they took me, they showed me, okay, this is the bed. And I remember Ina Megasin saying that women do not need to be pinned to a bed, but they're like, no, here women somehow they give birth like this only, and it's all been okay. And then we knew the next room was the cesarean room, but they're like, you don't need to see that, it's okay, it's a regular operation room. And then they showed me the rooms for the uh, you know because I wanted to say, I thought I should be informed. And sometimes, as new mothers, sometimes we don't know what to ask, what to consider as okay, what not to consider as okay. So I remember they said also there should be some doulas, some midwives. So I remember telling my husband, look, there's something called doula, midwife. We should make sure that these people are also there just in case, maybe we need their help. We don't know. So my husband pointed to all the nurses over there. They were all dressed in pink. And they're like, see, why you want one doula, one midwife? You have 15, 16 standing here. See, they're all dressed in uniform. They will help you. So I thought, okay, fine. This must be, they are the midwife, the doulas that I'm reading about in this Ina May Gaskin's birth village. So I was like, okay, all that I needed was asked for. And I remember, yes, Ina May's guy. I read this book. Exactly, I read this book. And so
I'll just print. This is Iname Gaskin because I've been lately telling a lot of people to read this book. So I'll just share this. Yeah. So this is the
yeah.
book Iname Gaskin, and there is not birth village. It is birth. It is birth at farm, something like that.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
something on those lines. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a while since that I've read that book, six or some years. So whatever I asked, they had a very good, sufficient answer that I thought, okay, it must be like this, fine. And one more thing I want to mention, I specifically told my doctor, look, I don't want the IV, please. Okay, because see, it's going to be natural delivery. I don't think I need the IV. He's like, okay, don't worry, we will not do IV. I said, I'm not comfortable with the whole shaving thing. He's like, okay, don't worry, we will not do shaving, we will not do anymore. Then I said, look, also, I had some few things. I would prefer to wear my own clothes. I do not want to get into the hospital thing. He's like, okay, okay, fine. Everything was yes, yes, fine, no problem. We will follow that. Okay. Then I spoke about, what is that? They give you a cut when the child is being born. Um,
Episiotomy.
episiotomy. So I said, see, doctor, I really don't want that. Okay. And he's like, see, we have to do it because that's a cut we do is better than is better than you tearing somehow, and then we're trying to fix that. Now I have read what the doctors do. I've read even what the WHO recommends. I've also read that a natural cut is easier to heal than what they do. I've read all of this, and I'm here telling him, doctor, this is what I don't want. He's like, see, this is what we usually do, but we will see. Okay, that's how they talk, right? We will see. But I said, doctor, I specifically don't want that. He's like, okay, we'll see when that happens. And even my husband was getting very upset with me. He's like, why are you asking so many questions? I will go, because when you're in front of them, it's very hard to think of questions don't come, and anyways you get like 10 minutes. So I used to go with notes on my phone, all my questions, and my husband would be like, why do you do this? But I'm like, I don't know. I want to know. I better I know now than I don't know then, and something else happens. So we would always have this tussle on the way to the clinic. And so then eventually I stopped telling him I was going with my questions. I'd pull out my phone there only and ask the doctor. Okay. And he'd be getting upset with me, but I'm like, sorry, I have to ask these questions. So, and the doctor would be also like looking at me like, the school child has come, with with a list of questions to ask the teacher. But I was like, look, I need to know, and I need to at least try to be as prepared as I can, because it's not just me, it's another life involved. And now fast forward, uh, it's the 1st of Feb morning. My water breaks. It's like one big gush. And my husband's not at home. The baby was supposed to be born on 9th, and he had to go to Chennai. And I'm like, go, it's fine. Baby's only coming around, max will come 7th, 8th. Will definitely not come before that. I don't think so. I'm feeling absolutely normal. And the night before, this baby was like, Shalom was like doing like gymnastics inside, and so I didn't sleep because he kept moving so much, so active. So I finally slept by around 3 in the morning, and I'm thinking, look, I have let it, if I don't sleep it's no problem because I can sleep in the morning. I couldn't sleep the way he was jumping inside, hands, legs, flinging, swing, never realizing next morning he would be born. Okay, so I didn't sleep till 3, and I'm taking videos of my tummy, and because he had never moved this much. And I know women take like these pictures and videos, but he never had moved that much. He had moved but not so much. So I was really enjoying finally getting these videos, and so happily taking these videos. And finally I go to sleep at 3, and 5 my water breaks, and like one big gush. And I remember reading in a Megaskin what they do, how they support the mother, but I didn't specifically read what you should do if the water breaks. So now we contact the doctor. I call my husband. He's in the airport. He's on the way to Chennai airport, and he calls the doctor, and the doctor says, "Come immediately." So we go immediately, and my husband's like, "Don't worry, I'll catch the flight and come straight and out to the clinic." Okay, so we are all planned like this. I forget to even, I had not even packed my hospital bag, not realizing that he'll come so soon. I'm thinking I'll pack third, fourth, ninth only he will come. So I go, just pack something, forget my file. Eventually, a relative gets the file. So we go there. They don't want to look at me. They're like, "Show me the file." I'm like, "But I am here. You have to ask me something. You can, and I've come to your clinic. I've not gone anywhere else. You have my records." They're like, "No, it's all in your file. We will not see you if we don't see your file." So we quickly get the file arranged, get the file. They are going through the file, all the things, and then they're like, "You need to change." But I'm like, "Look, the doctor said." They're like, "No, no, no, you have to change. This is our policy." Then they come, "We have to put the IV." I said, "But," the doctor said, "No." And the doctor never told me. Actually, he should have, but he never told me that he was going for a conference. He was not going to be there first, second, third, something like that. So he was not there the day that Shalom was born. His assistant was there, and then eventually they got somebody who comes in to supplement him if he is not available. So he, we get to know about this only when we go to the clinic. And now they've got me changed. There's like, so I was sitting on the bed, and then there was this mucus plug, I think, that got released, and they're like really upset. They're like, "Please don't sit on our bed because you'll dirty it again." So I'm like, "Okay, fine, I will not sit on the bed, I will just walk." So I'm walking. I just wanted to walk. I didn't want to sit anyway, so I'm just walking and walking. And after a point, they're like, "We need to you need to come inside." So the lady doesn't even tell me what she's doing. She starts shaving me, and after she starts shaving me, I'm like, "Oh my goodness, she's shaving me." I didn't even realize. She didn't even tell me. One of their ayahs. Then she's like, "Turn around," and she puts the enema into me, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness," she didn't even ask me, like, And at that moment, you don't speak, but you're so sensitive, and you remember everything, and you're so alert. You're really vulnerable in those moments. And yeah, so they do the enema, and I desperately wanted to use the washroom after that, and she's taking me to the Indian washroom. I'm like, "I don't use Indian washroom, I need to use Western." She's like, "No, no, no, ye use karne ka." I'm like, "But I can't." So finally they, very reluctantly, they take me to their Western washroom, and then I keep using that Western washroom, and I'm just walking and walking and walking, and no contraction, nothing. I'm just walking. I just want to walk, and they're getting very upset about that. They want me to be in my room. So they're like, "Okay, go to your room. Just walk in your room." So by God's grace, we had a room. So I was walking up and down, and then after some time, randomly, they like, the doctor wants to check you. So I go, and this doctor comes. He's like, he introduces himself, and he's like, "I need to check you." And I know from my reading and all that they don't really need to do this, but now there's somebody coming, he wants to check you. And as women, we are really taught, you have to be obliging, you need to be respectful. And I still believe you have to be respectful of doctors, but also you need to respect your own instincts and interest. And in that moment when you're so vulnerable, you just tend to go with what is suggested to you. So he's not asking me, he's like letting me know that, "Look, I need to check you now, and we need to see what's going on." So he puts his fingers in that some red liquid, and then he's putting his fingers into me, checking me, and then he mutters something, goes away, comes back again after like maybe 15-20 minutes, again checks me, and I've not had a single contraction until now. Okay. And they're getting really upset after some time that, "My goodness, she's having no contraction, the water's broken at 5." So I can feel this. I can feel that they're getting anxious, and the room is brightly lit. I didn't want a room so brightly lit, but you don't have these options. You get what you get, and you cannot really say no to anything because they're like, no, this is our how we go about it. This is how we work. You're here. You just have to follow it. You can't say no. Okay, so I'm like, can I get something to eat? They're like, no, we can't give you anything to eat. But they were like, they gave me chai. I mean, I was grateful for that at least. And I don't know why they were like, no, we can't give you anything. So these midwives or nurses or doulas, they would all crowd around me at one time, and then they would all go away. And again, they'll come crowd around me, and you would think they were asking me. They were not asking me anything. They were just gossiping between themselves. Okay, and I remember also, like, I'm here, I'm not sure what's going on. I've not had a single contraction. They want me to be on this bed, and they also wanted the bed like this. And I'm like, I know from my reading that the bed has to at least be favoring gravity or flat. So I was very clear about that. They kept insisting, and I said, nothing doing. I want the bed like this. I don't want the bed like this. Okay. So they were really upset because, I was a little bit going against their wishes, but they obliged, and the bed was at least flat. Okay. And said, I want to walk. They're like, no, 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 you can't walk now. You have to be like this. I'm like, can you tend to request, and then when eventually people are just like, no, 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 then you just like give in. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll just be here. You know, somehow deep inside we have this thing ingrained in us. You have to be the good girl. You have to be like listening. You have to be obliging. You have to be, going with what people want for you because they know your better interest than you. So I was just being like, okay, fine, these people are helping me. So these nurses, they come, they are busy gossiping about somebody who got ticked off that morning, how she deserved it. And in all of that, my husband from Chennai airport, he's managed to arrange coconut water because he realized they're not sending food in. So he's got coconut water arranged, and they're like, who is this for? They're looking around which nurse it is for, and they're like, no, 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 it is for the patient, please just give it to her. So yeah, I am sipping on coconut water. Nobody's asking me what I need, how I'm doing, do I need to walk. Nothing. They're just busy in their own thing. They go and they come. They go like a herd of sheep and they come back, all for having more doulas and nurses or midwives. And fine, after a point they decide, oh, baby's not coming, we need to give her that dosage of some drug which I know is not what you should give a mother to increase to induce contractions. They're trying to induce me now. I'm like, I don't want that. The doctor came, he's like, look, we're going to give you this. And I was like, doctor, can we avoid this, please? And he's like, what's your profession? And I knew where this conversation was going. Why does he need to know what is my profession? And I'm a musician by profession, and I know for people in the STEM world, science, technology, engineering, medicine, this is like time pass. My profession is artist is a time pass for them. Okay, it's not even considered a profession. They don't understand the amount of work that goes into being an artist. And I had no intention to be dismissed to be
Megan, there is a message saying that the volume is going low. So can you
okay,
just
I'll
speak?
speak louder. Okay. So I tell him I'm a teacher because I also teach. I'm a music teacher. So I'm a teacher. He's like, do you have any idea what you're speaking? You're questioning me. He was very upset. I said, but doctor, I don't want this. I really don't want this to be put in my IV. He's like, no, we have to do it. Please give 2 doses of this thing to her. And I was like, doctor, do we? He's like, yes, yes, you absolutely need it. You need to take it. Okay. And so they do it. They put that injection in the IV. The medicine goes in. I'm getting this thing, and then after some time the contractions start, and they're trying to make me push, and they're like, we'll tell you when to push. And after a point, this doctor just starts coming to check me. He's not now telling me that he's going to check me, put his fingers into me. He just does it because I think he assumed he asked me the first time. Now he can do as many times as he wants, doesn't matter. Fine. So not fine, but now he's just checking me as many times as he wants. And whenever he comes in, I understand, oh, he's going to put his fingers in that red liquid, and then he's going to put his fingers into me and check me, and I don't have an option about this. And already now, you don't have an option about so many things, that they checked you, that they did the enema, that they did the shape. They just, you realize that you're like a car on a ramp. They're going to do what they have to do, and you cannot in any way stop this. Okay. And you realize they're doing it for your best interest, and you just have to be quiet and just let them do it because they know better. and you can't question because it's going to upset them even more. So I'm just enduring this. In all of this, there's another little baby being brought in, washed under the tap, put the hand soap, scrubbed in, and I'm just watching how that little baby is being handled. I'm thinking, my God, I thought this was a private clinic. It will be better, and now they're doing it to that baby. Soon it will be my baby. I'm like, my God, I'm like, what is going on? And in all of this, the contractions are coming, and it was not painful or anything. And it was just like a contraction, like how it comes, like a rush through you, and then it goes. It comes and it goes. And in all of this, my relatives, my in-laws were outside. My mother, I really didn't want anyone except my husband to be there. And I hear my mother's voice outside, and then they allow her in. They never told me somebody's coming. They allow whoever wants to come in as many times as they want to come in. And after a point, I got a hold of a nurse and I said, look, please do not send such and such persons inside. Okay, I do not want them next to me at this time. Okay, but it didn't matter. Whoever wanted to come in, as many times as they wanted to come in, had got to come in, see you like that, pass their comments. And in my case, there were some very stupid comments. I'm not going to say who said what and what they said. But in that moment when these things are happening to you, people are allowed to come in, pass their comments, walk out. And my husband's not there. He was in Chennai. And just that day, there was a cloud burst in Chennai. His flight gets delayed by 3 hours. And he's that I didn't know this, but the doctor is on the phone, is telling them, my in-laws outside, there's a serious emergency, the baby needs to be brought out soon, she's also struggling, and all this he's telling them, and my husband on the phone. I just go into myself and I'm like, okay, I just have to do this for me and my baby. We just have to get through this together and we'll be all right soon. It became like just having to, I don't know, protect myself inside internally. And soon they come and like, okay, the baby's head has turned. The baby's head is turned back. The baby's not going to come normally. You have to do a C-section. And also your water broke at 5 in the morning. It's now 10:30. You have to do a C-section. You have no other option. And I realized the doctor's also in a hurry because they had brought him in instead of my doctor, and he had to possibly go. And he's like, we have to do a C-section. No other options you have. And my husband's begging on the phone like, please, can she wait like at least 2 hours? I'll be back, I'll be there, and then we can make a more informed decision, because he knew that we clearly didn't want a C-section. And he's like, no, not possible, she's in extreme danger, the child is in extreme danger. And finally they're like, okay, we'll allow you to try still for a normal, we'll allow you to push, but allow you to try for a normal delivery even in the operation theater. Okay. And so I have no option, I have nothing. They are just playing every death card possible, that it's a risk for me, it's a risk for the baby. And mind you, I'm only having contractions now after this thing they put in my IV. So I'm directed into the operation theater, and I'm waiting there. I'm thinking, okay, now we will try for normal. They said, right, we will try for normal stir. But I was totally mistaken. They were all set to do a C-section. They were not even going to waste 1 second in the operation theater trying to go for normal delivery. And the the anesthetist is getting ready to do the whole anesthesia thing, where they put the thing in your back and everything. They make me sign all these documents. So you try to be obliged, you want time, right? So I'm signing. I don't know what I'm signing, but they're like, this page, this page, this page. So I'm signing because they're asking me to sign something. And my husband comes on the line on the phone, and I'm like, look, what to do? And he prays with me, and we like, okay, we'll just hope for the best that we can still try for normal delivery. That was not going to happen. They were not even interested to waste 1 second in their operation theater trying for normal delivery. And I'm requesting the doctor, please, can we wait? And the doctor by now is like totally frustrated with me because I'm wasting his time. And the anesthetist, I remember telling him, just forget these people. They think they know more than us. Just let them be. Let them wait. If something happens, then it's not our responsibility. And I'm just listening to these conversations, and I'm just thinking, if something happens to me or to my baby, I will have that on my conscience, that I was trying not to have a C-section, and because of that, something happened to me. Something happened more than to me, to the baby. Okay. So fine, I just give in, and they put that they give me the anesthesia in my back, and they do the C-section. and they put that kind of cloth between you and so you don't see. And eventually, like, so fast the baby's out, and I hear a cry, and they don't give me the baby. They just the doctor literally, I watch, he just dumps the baby. I'm gasping that the way he just dumps the baby in the nurse's hand, like this is the fastest emergency that has to be gotten over really fast. And I'm like, my god, hope they don't drop the baby. He just tells me it's a boy. They don't show me the baby, nothing. He just dumps the baby in the nurse's hand. She runs out of the room with the baby to, I don't know, wash him or whatever. And then they stitch me, and then they don't tell me anything. They unbutton my nightie, which was from the hospital. She's pressing my breast to check if there's milk. No, what we're going to do, no permission, nothing. It's just like you're a car. Like, you don't ask a car on a ramp, can I open your door, can I open the dicky, nothing. You just do, right? So you're like a car on a ramp. And the way they finish off their procedures, and they rush me out of the operation theater, I was so scared I'd bang into a wall. They like full speed, okay? I'm just being swung from one second I'm in the room, next second I'm in the passage, next second I'm in my bed. I'm like, wow, I've never moved on a thing so fast. And next second I'm in my bed, and things are hooked up to me. And then after, like, I'm like, where's my baby? I have not seen my baby. And then after like 15 minutes they get the baby in, and 15 minutes is like the longest 15 minutes, because you want to see your baby. You've been pregnant for 9 months, you want to see your kid. And and they bring in this baby, and they don't even show me like, this is your baby. I see him, suddenly he's upside down, they've unbuttoned me, and they're trying to check if he can nurse. Not, oh, this is your baby, look how he looks, nothing. I'm like, oh, that's my baby, okay, like upside down getting nursed here. And then they run off with him again, and I'm like, I didn't even see my child. And then after they run off with him, I have in-laws and relatives come, and they're like, oh, we saw your child before you did, haha. And he looks like this, he looks like that. And like, okay, fine. I've still not seen my baby properly in all of this, okay? My husband comes in, finally. He's seen the baby, and then he saw me first, and then he went to see the baby. And he's like, have you seen the baby? And I'm like, I've not seen my own baby. So he gets the nurses to show me the baby, I guess, because they were busy getting the C-section set up ready for the next person. Because I realized later they do about 15 to 19 C-sections in that clinic every day, in that one private clinic. So it's next. So they don't have really time to do all these frills of showing you your child or anything. Anyways, uh, my husband shows me the baby, and by then you're like, is this my baby? Are you sure they haven't mixed my baby up? Because a mother, I don't know, it is an instinct that you need to see a baby immediately. And I'm like, I don't know if this is my baby. It took me at least 2-3 days to accept, okay, this is my baby. I am responsible for this child now for the rest of, at least till he's 18, 19. This is my baby. you know and I didn't realize, but they were giving him some formula milk, some milk with sugar in it. And my mother asked, why are you giving milk with sugar? They're like, no, the baby doesn't drink otherwise. So okay, so then finally they bring him to me to nurse, and we had so much of issues to nurse, because he didn't nurse immediately. It took him 2-3 months to actually finally nurse. It would take him 20 minutes to just latch, on one side, and then when we shifted the side, 20 minutes to latch on this side. And they did a lot of things, like giving you a artificial nipple shield and stuff to help the baby, and all sorts of things. So it was basically quite traumatic, the whole experience. One, because you're not listened to, you're being told what has to be done to you. And I'm just thinking, I've read all this childbirth thing, Ina May Gaskin thing, and something else only happened to me. How did that happen? And what I realize now, looking back, is that it's one thing to do your own reading, and I really recommend that to mothers, do your own reading. But then if your doctor is on a different page, you don't expect him to follow through with what you have read, okay? And you may say, no, I will tell him this, I will tell him that. It doesn't matter, because at that point you don't want to be, you cannot be telling. Your team has to support you and go with what has been planned. Okay, just one second. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, very very not a good experience. I came out of that thinking, my god, I didn't know it was so traumatic to have a baby. And I come home, and for some reason I couldn't be at my house. I had to be at my mother's house, and that was another experience altogether, which we will not talk about right now. But I would just tell mothers who are listening to this conversation, you need to be with people who you are comfortable to be with. Maybe it may be even an aunt, but it should be somebody you're comfortable, who you can be with, be yourself around, who you basically comfort. Okay, just don't think I have to go to my family house, I have to go to my mother's house. Do you have a good relationship with this person? Are you comfortable with this person? Because in those moments, especially after your birth, you are so fragile, you are so vulnerable, and you need to be around people who you can basically ask for stuff, support you. Okay. um, After my first pregnancy, I ended up with a very bad case of piles. I couldn't sit. Today, we just sit, and we don't realize the number of muscles involved in sitting. I couldn't sit. It was like somebody putting a knife into me when I sat down. And you have to sit to feed your baby, you have to be mobile to change diapers, to look after the child. I couldn't sit, whether in the bathroom, whether on the bed to feed the child. Finally, I had a piles operation on the 1st of March, exactly 1 month after my first pregnancy. And please don't believe all the nonsense they tell you about it's not. It's painless. This laser operation is painless. It's rubbish. It was horrible pain. And now I realize, looking back, just simple changes in diet, certain things I could have done could have prevented me from doing this operation. But anyways, that operation happened, and it took me really a while to understand, recover. It was like a shock because I was expecting something only else happened. And well, I was determined that no, I'm not going to have another C-section. I need to have a normal delivery now. Next, if we have another baby, and we had wanted at least to have 2 children. So we wait 3 years, and I conceive again. And now I'm determined that I do not want to see this gynac. Okay, so we look for midwives. At that time, I didn't know about Sneha, I didn't know about Anisha. So we find a gynac come doula, and it was a little suspicious, the place. My husband was never comfortable, but I was like, no, she seems to be the one who will push for normal delivery. And I asked her all the questions. She had a very low C-section rate, almost none, and a lot of good stories on her Instagram and on Google. And I did a little bit my research because I didn't have the opportunity then to meet somebody who'd actually worked with her. Okay, so I go to her place. Always her place is deserted. There's nobody there. There used to be one receptionist. Eventually, that receptionist also left. There was one assistant. The assistant eventually left. And my husband's getting even more paranoid. He's like, "Look, it takes us 1 hour. It's like a picnic to get to her place and back. And I would have to go with my 2-year-old baby by then." And I'm like, "Look, I really do not want a C-section. I'm willing to do anything, okay, to get a normal delivery." So he respects that. We go, we come, we finish, we do our appointments. Around 22 weeks, I realized I'd made this mistake the first time, that the gynac and you, whoever it is, your birth partner, has to be on the same page as you. So I started asking questions around 22 weeks, and she was very upset about that. She's like, "You don't trust me." Okay, I'm like, "I trust you. That's why I've been coming to you for 22 weeks." She's like, "What you are asking me, we will only be encountering at 39 weeks. Why are you asking me at 22 weeks?" But I'm like, "Look, I know I will be there in 39 weeks. So I need to know now. I can't know in 39 weeks what's going to happen in 39 weeks. I need to know now. And already now is late. It's 22 weeks." So she felt like I was not trusting her, basically. And she's like, she started talking about, "I will get a lawyer if you do." I'm like, "Look, I'm not even getting there. I'm not even interested in suing you or any of that sort. I'm just, as a mother concerned for my child and my life, I'm asking you some basic questions, including, if there is an emergency, how do we handle it?" She's like, I will get a team overnight." My husband's like, "That's not possible to get a team overnight. How do you get a team overnight for a C-section, just in case there is some emergency, just in case the child needs specific help? How does one deal with this?" She's like, "No, we don't need to go to any other hospital. We will figure everything out in my hospital." So my husband's like, "Okay, I don't mind that, but does she have the resources?" Her hospital was completely deserted. No one, not even an attendant. And we know, understand by now, by God's grace, these things about infections, things have to be maintained, they have to be cleansed, cleaned. And the fact that there used to be nobody else in her visiting book, my husband was like, I have my doubts. And then, by God's grace, 22 weeks, she only told me, "I do not want to work with you." So now here I am, pregnant 22 weeks, and I'm like, okay, I made that mistake the first time, not asking questions. Second time around, I'm asking questions, and this lady is not wanting to work with me. So we have no choice. We start going to a gynac, and the gynac we go to was recommended by a friend, but that gynac at a very reputed hospital here, very reputed gynac. In his private clinic, he'll see patients one on one. In this government, it's not even it's a very good government hospital where we are sometimes paying more fees than going to my private clinic fees. But he will see 4 patients at the same time. He's got one lady on this side, one lady on this side, one lady in front of him, one lady getting prepared by the nurse over there on the bed, and he's taking phone calls and he's checking messages. And in all of that, they forget to see a very important thing on my uh, in my tests, that my baby had a chance, 1 in 100 chance of having trisomy 18. Okay, he didn't see that, he didn't catch it. And but they make you do they make you take the injections that you're supposed to take, and I didn't want to, but he's like, no, no, you have to take it. If you work with me, you have to take it. And fine, took that injection. But then the second time I went, second or third appointment, I just felt so wrong about this. Like, what is going on? How can he see anybody properly if he's trying to see 5 patients at the same time? Okay. um, so I stop, I discontinue, and then we are looking for midwives. Are looking, so we find a midwife in Goa. We are looking in Bangalore, we are looking in Birth Village. Finally we decide, okay, we'll settle for Birth Village. It was very challenging because my Shalom had just started school, and that school was very strict. Okay, and there would be no one to look after him in Mumbai, but we were like, let it be, we'll take 1 month holiday and we will go finish this birth in Birth Village and come back. That was our plan. So baby was supposed to be due in Feb, and so December we start working with Birth Village. We do their tests, we do start the exercise program. We start working with the midwife there. She's like, look, you're really late because you want normal delivery. We start all these things so many months before, but it's okay, we'll try to work. And I really appreciate that about them. So we started working, and at least I had the comfort that, okay, I'm at least with somebody, somebody to support me. And they're like, but one thing, you have to do this test before you come, okay, to check if the baby is okay to do that whole train journey, because it's quite a long train journey from Mumbai to Kerala. So fine, we said okay. 22nd we do the test, 23rd we were going to get the results, 24th we were going to leave for Kerala. That was the plan. Okay, all planned, sorted, everything. I remember when I did my first scan with over here in Mumbai, that they had said the nasal bone is not ossified. This is my second baby. So we had showed it to one of our doctor friends. She's like, don't worry, it can get ossified later on also, so don't worry. So we were not worried. Then they did a mid checkup. That person, radiologist, was very concerned. She's like, I have some doubts. Please come again the next day. So I go again the next day. They are again checking. I don't know what they were checking, but they do an intravaginal check also. And she's like, you have to do such and such and such tests, which involved that amniocentesis, getting the. And I'm very scared of injections, and I was like, my god, I do not want to do this test. Anyways, we believe that we will accept the baby however the baby is, so let it be. We didn't do any of those further testings, and also they come with some risks, so we like, let it be, we won't do that test. We did the IUGR test and everything before we went to Kerala. When they got the report, they're like, look, the baby is IUGR, means she's not growing properly. Better you don't come. Okay, it's not good for the baby. You find a gynac who will work with you there. And I really appreciate once again their honesty to just tell you that, look, this is the situation. So now no options. My husband's like, look, I listened to you so many months. I went to that doctor gynac midwife. She believed she was a doctor gynac midwife. We went to her. She left us in 22 weeks. My husband's like, see, I drove you to Goa to find a midwife there. I was willing to work with Birth Village. Now Birth Village is not willing to work with us. Now you listen to me. We're going to the first doctor, okay, of my sister, who we had the sister with, and the same clinic as Shalom. So very sadly, very reluctantly, we go there. He looks through the papers. Again, he doesn't see the 1 in 100 chance of Edward syndrome. He's just quickly going through all our papers. He's like, look, for me, once a C-section, always a C-section. You just have to do another C-section. Okay, and I was so sad. I was just in tears. And he's like, okay, what day we want to do the C-section? Um, so my husband's like, will you be there or will it be someone? He's like, no, I only will be there. So 28th was my husband's birthday in 2023. It was the year 2023. So we're like, okay, we'll do it on 28th Jan 2023. Okay, he had actually given us another day. He had said 28th was not available, but you know, it's like a like a like a sword sort of thing hanging over you. Like you have to just get this done now. No one is willing to work with you. There's no midwife, nobody willing to work with you. And so finally he gave us 28th of Jan, surprisingly, which was my husband's birthday. We go, we get the C-section done. I remember feeling like a goat going to the slaughter. I was so sad about it. But he had told me, this doctor, when we had gone for that one visit, don't worry, your husband can be with you, because first time he was not there, he was in Chennai. He can be with you. He clearly completely told me that. So I thought, okay, fine, at least my husband is going to be with us this time around. For the second baby, he'll be with us, he won't be somewhere else. So we check into the hospital. Again, they shave you. It's their procedure. They're not going to listen to you. So they shave you. And the nurse, I remember telling me, why don't you get shaved elsewhere and come? I'm like, but I don't do these procedures anywhere, you know. So then she was very upset that I had not come in her terms prepared, and that she had to shave me. So she shaves me, and I'm just like feeling so sad that whole night. And then next day morning they call you, they're getting you prepared. I was just like dreading this, and the only hope you have is that, okay, at the end of all of this, you're going to have a baby, you're going to have your baby in your arms. So you go through it, and they're ready, they put you on the bed now for the C-section. So they take you elsewhere in another room, they prepare you that whole area where they're going to cut you. And then now you walk, or I think they take you on a stretcher to this other area. They put you on this other bed where you're going to be cut. And I'm like, okay, doctor, now can my husband come, okay, and be with me, right? We are going to do this operation. He's like, actually, this is a women's hospital and your husband will not be able to be there. And I'm like, what? You work in this hospital? So we couldn't have it in his clinic because his clinic was under renovation at the time. We had to check into this hospital to have the same doctor work with us. So, but I'm like, but doctor, you told me, right, that he can be with me. He's like, no, but this is a women's hospital and they have their rules, and your husband cannot be here. So my husband was not there, and everything's happening so fast. And I had friends who told me later, you should have just got up and walked out, right? Why did you continue the operation? But you know, in that moment, again, you want to be a good girl, you want to be a listening girl, you want, to just go along and not be too much of a nuisance to anybody. So I'm like, no, now what am I supposed to do? And everything's prepared, and you do not want to inconvenience the hospital, you do not want to inconvenience your doctor. He's taken his time out to do this for you, and you do not want to be a nuisance. And I just didn't realize at the time, but I should have. I should have got up and walked out to teach this doctor a lesson that if you work in this hospital, you know the rules. If people are not allowed, if spouses are not allowed, you should not give the woman false hopes. So, anyways, at least the anesthesis was the same annoying anesthesis from the previous time, the first time. And in one way I was annoyed to see him, in another way I was happy, because the first time around I was okay after his anesthesia. Because I'll go into it later about how women I personally know have been really hurt as a result of anesthesia, and I'm like, okay, he got it right the first time, he'll get it right the second time, hopefully. So he does the anesthesia, the baby, and I had asked the doctor, will the child be allowed to be on my chest, will I be allowed to be with my child? Yes, everything. Okay, so now they do the operation, the child is pulled out. He's like, it's a girl. They're showing me her private parts, the anesthetist is showing me her private parts. Look, it's a girl. And I'm expecting that they will put the child on my chest like they told me they would. And the my gynaec, now he knows my expectation, right? He's like, I'm sorry, but we have to take her out because this room is very cold for her, and after some time we will bring her back to you. So I'm like, okay. Second thing, he knows that he's going to do this. He told me the child will be on my chest, and now he's taken her out. Fine. I'm like, okay, at least the baby's okay. And that's the only thing I wanted to know. I didn't want to know, is she a boy or is she a girl? I just want to know, is the baby okay? Is she fine? Because of whatever we had seen in the scans. And he's stitching me up, and in all of this the anesthetist is gossiping about how women should give birth in hospitals, because it's just easier for him to get from one operation to the next, doing his anesthesia work. And these private clinics are such a headache, because then he has to actually travel from one private clinic to another. Anyways, it's funny how you remember these conversations in that moment. So anyways, stitch me up, I'm rushed to my room, put in my room, and I'm waiting for my baby. and they're taking forever to get her done. I'm like, what's going on? I want my baby, and now my husband's with me, right? So I'm after his life. I'm nagging him. I want my baby. Give me my baby. And he's like, yes, yes, yes. They are getting her. They're getting her. What I didn't know is that she had she couldn't breathe at normal room oxygen. She couldn't breathe, and they had put oxygen pipes into her nose to breathe, and that they had to transfer her to an NICU. Now, in the list of floors in that hospital, they had written this floor, and NICU was on the top floor. So I'm thinking, okay, NICU, they'll take her to the top floor. What I didn't know is the NICU was under renovation. It was not yet done. So they were going to move her in an ambulance to another hospital 20 minutes away. Okay. I don't know any of this back then. They just rush her into me to see me without those tubes. They show her, and then they rush her out, and I'm thinking, what's the hurry? Why couldn't they just leave her with me? And my husband doesn't tell me anything. He's like, look, we will be back. You just wait here, we will be back. Okay, so I'm sitting alone in this hospital room with my
Mhm.
C-section just done, and I think there's some disturbance. And
Megan, there's again a request to speak a little louder because
okay,
it's yeah, the volume is getting low.
okay. Now better? Better? Can you hear me? Yeah. So, sorry, I'm going into the details because we just hear very brief stories, and we just hear when we read also, it's very rare that people talk about these details. But I'm sitting on this hospital bed. My husband's gone. After like 2 hours, he comes back and he tells me such and such is the case with the baby. And I'm thinking, okay, NICU, no problem, we will make it through this, we'll be fine. Okay, it's just a temporary momentary thing. She'll be out in a few days. Okay, and it really hurts because you're in a room, but on this floor there are other mums who've just delivered, and they put all this decoration on the door, welcome baby, and they wanted to put it on our door, but my husband's like, wait, just wait, let the baby come home from the NICU, come to us from the NICU. And we thought she'd be there for a few hours. Few hours became days. I leave the hospital, I come back home, and it was very strange to come back home without baby, and she's in this NICU, and I'm pumping milk and getting it sent to the NICU, pumping milk, getting it sent to the NICU. It was a very difficult period. And when we go to visit her, only I'm allowed in, and I'd never seen this before. I'd never seen children so tiny under these lights. And they put my baby very closest to the nurse because they're like, we feel she needs the most attention. And on one hand, as a mother, you're like, okay, in a way that's a good thing, but also in a way, does my baby need so much attention because something's wrong? And I go, I see her, I'm like holding her for the first time in the NICU after 2 3 days, and I just feel something's not right, something's not right. And as a mother, you just know, and as a mother, you just want to know everything, like, just tell me everything. But they themselves didn't know. Now that I've been with a child with trisomy 18, one look, this is a trisomy 18 baby. But I don't know why it took them so long that they didn't even ask for this test. They're doing every other test. They're doing heart tests, they're doing lung tests, they're doing every test. Okay? And even when they don't do the tests that they said they're supposed to do, the bills are the same because they're finding other reasons to keep that amount going. And I can see this happening. And eventually she's been in the hospital 10 days. On the 10th day, okay, they are like, maybe you should do this karyotyping test. And I speak to Shalom's pediatrician, and they're like, karyotyping, why karyotyping? But she has not seen the child. These things you will know immediately when you see the child. Her ears were set back. She had a step on her head. Her thumb couldn't open. It was stuck like that. Both the thumbs were stuck. She couldn't open her thumb. These are like classic signs of Edward syndrome, which is trisomy 18. I mean, the doctors, she was seeing doctors so much in those days that she was there. Nobody saw this. Nobody picked this up. This is what they study in college, but nobody picked it up. I don't know why. Finally, we realized they are actually doing nothing because nothing can be done. Okay, she's there. She's just lying there, breathing there. Eventually, not even in on oxygen, but they just want her there. And I'm like, look, you all are doing nothing for her here. She's been here 2 days. There is nothing. There's no tube on her. Why can't she be in our arms? Why can't she be home with us? They're like, no, she needs to be here another 5-6 days. I'm like, no, I'm taking my baby home. We had to literally fight with them to take her home. They're like, okay, at least be with her in the hospital one day and then you take her home. So we are leaving. We I come to take her. They take out an injection. I mean, that IV in her hand was this big. It was almost the size of her little finger, and I'm just like, my God, this child has been through so much, and so many tests. They were doing tests and tests. I don't know why you have to do the same test every day, the same heart test every day, but they were doing it, and you just go along with what they say. So fine. It was like 15-20K a day that she was there, but we didn't mind that. We're like, we just want a healthy baby. You know we want her to be okay. We are in the hospital for a day. No doctor comes to see her. No doctor comes to see us. We're like, they told us to be here a day because they want us to be under observation. No one's coming to observe what's going on. Okay, that made me a little skeptical of what's going on with this medical system. Okay, and especially when your baby's in the NICU, you do not want to question. You do not want to ask, just in case they do something to their child or they don't treat her well. So whatever they wanted, we just did. We just gave in. But when that one day we were in the hospital, not one person even came to see how is the baby doing. Is she okay? Nothing. Okay, just when we were leaving, they wanted to check, okay, everything's fine. They checked her vitals, and they're like, okay, now you can go. Fine. So we left. We came home. I remember it was 10th of Feb. She had been in that hospital, that NICU, from 28th to 9th, 9th to 10th. She was with us in the hospital room. 10th, we bring her home. And we didn't realize, but she couldn't nurse. She didn't have the energy in her mouth to nurse. So I was pumping and then feeding her with a spoon, and she couldn't swallow. So we'd feed and everything would come out of her mouth. And she couldn't breathe. And then we realized about 60-70% of her energy is just going to achieve this task of breathing. Sneha, we have so much to be grateful for. We breathe and we just breathe. We don't think about it. We swallow food. We just drink water. The muscles involved to drink water, to swallow. We just sit. I mean, after my experience with Payal's operation, I realized how I had been taking my bottom for granted, that I just sit and I don't even think about. I'm not grateful that I can sit. We think, oh, we have to be grateful for something. Just be grateful. I mean, I realized I just have to be grateful that I can sit and not be in pain, not be in anguish from the act of sitting, that I can breathe. When I saw how difficult it was for my baby to drink water, I'm like, my goodness, I've been drinking water and eating food and not realizing the task, how easy it is for me to drink water, to swallow. It just happens, and I never thought that's something I should be grateful for. And you're willing to do anything for your baby. So we're trying to make her comfortable. We're trying to help her to breathe. We're trying to, holding her up like this. We're trying to feed her every 1.5 hours. It takes like 45 minutes to feed her like 3 ml of milk. But we're willing to do that. I'm sitting feeding her. I end up completely neglecting Shalom in all of this. And mind you, we've still not gotten the results. We don't know, it's some genetic issue. And then I remember on the 23rd of Feb, we get to know I'm just about to go perform on stage. I'm a harpist, and I was in Delhi, I remember, and the report comes, and I'm just about to go on stage, and I read this report that it's some trisomy 18. I've never heard about this condition before. And I immediately Google, and when I'm Googling, I'm looking, it's like reading my daughter's death sentence. And this is not a passing condition. This is not like some passing cold or some passing fever. It's a syndrome. It's a condition that she's born with, that it's not my fault, it's not my husband's fault. It just happened that she has an extra chromosome of trisomy 18. That's why trisomy 18. And it means, and why we don't hear about it is because 95% of children with this syndrome die before their first birthday. I'm reading all of this. I'm just about to go on stage, and I don't know what to do. I sent my husband the thing, I sent my husband the form. I said, have you heard about this? I go on stage, I'm crying, Sneha. I'm in tears. And I'm still playing. Because I'm supposed to play, and I'm just so glad I play the harp. Because, you can like sort of like face the heart, and you can cry. And I'm still playing. And finish, I get off stage. Grateful that it was slightly dim light so people can't see the tears. And it was hard. My husband spends all night reading about this, trying to find out what we can do. And you first of all, you never think you're going to be a mother who does a C-section. Then you never think you're going to be a mother who does a C-section and have no baby. And then you never think that you're going to have a baby who passes away. No mother ever thinks. I mean, yeah, coming to birth, there is a minor chance that you may not make it, your baby may not make it, but you don't think it will be you, not you for sure, right? So I'm looking at this. I come home and I look at her. I'm like, okay. I thought, I really look forward to Christmas, and I thought, okay, we'll this NICU experience where March is behind us. Baby will recover. She'll get strong at home with us, and we'll have finally a good Christmas together. It will be her first Christmas, and I'm thinking about all these things, and yeah, that was not to be. And then I'm just praying over her. I'm believing, and I'm hoping for the best. And my husband was youngest sister was in the 10th at the time, and she was really close to the little one, and she was doing her board exams, and we were like, if we say anything, she might not even be able to complete her exams. And so we don't speak in the house, we don't tell them the diagnosis. Okay, but I'm crying privately, my husband's crying privately, and we tell his sisters who are older. He has two sisters just after him. The sister in Australia is like, no, I will come, I will help to feed the baby, we can figure this out. She comes down from Australia, and my her sister who's in the UK, she's like, I'll also come, we'll be together as a family, we'll solve this, we'll help to do this together. So unknowing to me, they booked their tickets. Okay, she's born on 28th of Jan. They booked their tickets to come in March. They're like, we'll definitely come in March, we'll let it be, we'll work together on this. Okay, so the month of Feb goes by, and she's getting a little stronger in the month of Feb. And a motherly instinct wants to just hold the hands of that clock and stop the time, just stop time, because I have my baby, and if maybe time goes and days pass, maybe she will not be alive, because 95% of children don't make it past their first birthday. And we knew she had very difficult issues with her heart, with her breathing. And my mother-in-law would tell me, look, this child can't swallow, and she had checked, but the baby was not able to see and hear. Okay, she had done some checks, but as a mother, you don't want to hear any of that. You just want your baby. However your baby is, you want your baby, right? So I refused to listen to any of that, and I would look at that clock and think, I wish I could just hold those hands and stop time, because my baby is doing a little better now. It's mid-Feb, but time goes by, you can't stop time, right? Nothing I can do can stop time. We live on earth. So Feb goes, it's March, and I'm just grateful for another month. And twice in March, I had episodes to difficulty in breathing. Okay, and in all of this, none of my family visits. Okay, everyone is doing their own thing, everyone is busy. Only my husband's two sisters said, we're coming, we'll come and we'll help. Okay, so this is a battle my husband and me are fighting together. And I can't even cry in front of Shalom because he's small, and as it is completely neglecting him, because this baby needs a full 100% undivided attention. So okay, life goes on. It's March, and we were like, okay, we have to get her birth certificate. The hospital had been after us, you have to get the birth certificate. So we're like, okay, 31st of March, we'll plan. I had planned my day. Okay, I'll give a few harp lessons in the morning, then I will take baby with some milk, and we will go get her birth certificate, come back. Day was planned, everything was done. Okay, we sent Shalom to school in the morning. It was 31st of March, and I get ready, I'm giving my harp classes, and then the Didi knocks on the door saying, Vijay Bhai, that's my husband, has rushed to the hospital with the baby. She was having some issues, she was not able to breathe. And my heart just skips a beat. I'm like, what? I call up my husband, he's not picking up. I'm desperately calling him, and then finally he gets on the line with me, and he's like, baby's gone. I don't know what to do. Sneha, my world fell apart. Nothing happened at that moment. I'm just holding onto the fridge to just stand. And my husband was in the hospital with her. Shalom was in school. He had to be picked up. It just nothing registered. I just wanted my baby. Those words, baby's gone, they just ring in my mind even now. My father-in-law drives me to the hospital. I see her there, and I'm just still believing that she will be alive. She will come back to us. But I don't know, that was not to be. And when we were in the hospital, uh, you know, my husband had rushed into the hospital with her. They had called the code that they do when such emergencies happen with little children. Doctors came flying in. That's what I heard about later. They ripped her clothes, trying to get her heart to beat. They tried multiple times to get her heart to beat, but it was not working. And finally, after this, they said they did their best. They just gave us the baby, and they said goodbye. And we're like, my husband, he understood we have to get these certain documentations done, otherwise we can get into issues for whatever reason. So he's asking them, look, okay, can you give us a death certificate? And they said no. So what are we supposed to do? Like, we need a death certificate, right? Otherwise they can accuse us of anything tomorrow. So I'm not even thinking about all of this. I'm just looking at my baby. I want her back. Okay. And a hospital in India, in this grief, they just say, I'm sorry, please leave our premises. We have nothing to do with you. And doesn't matter if you brought your child here, we are not responsible. Please leave. We get in the car. We come back home. I'm just looking at this baby. I come back home. What do you do? I had milk. I'm feeding her. I don't know what else. What should you do? So I'm there. Sorry, I'm there. And I'm holding her. And I'm just holding her. And my husband's not there because he had to go do all these. Now we have to get a death certificate done. Okay. Find a doctor who will give us a death certificate. He finally does after much difficulty, and he comes home. And now relatives, not relatives, some friends come by, and they're looking, they're passing comments, they're saying things, you know but it's meaningless, right? All these words in this moment, Neha, are meaningless. You just want somebody to sit with you and hold you and be there. And I'm just there. I'm feeding my baby. Shalom had to be brought home from school. We inform the school. They just keep him longer. My father-in-law goes and gets him. And he comes. He sees baby. Oh, mama, baby's here. And he's playing with blocks on the floor in front of me like it was any other day. And we made sure that we have no pictures of that day. But I have this one picture, Sneha, that I took. I got the Didi to take of me with my baby and Shalom on the floor playing blocks. Because I know one day when he grows up, I will tell him the story and he'll be like, Mama, where was I? And I couldn't take him to the cemetery. I couldn't take him to these places, but I can say maybe you were with us on that day. So I have that picture which I still treasure. And then afterwards, my husband's like, Meagan, we have to go to the cemetery. We have to. I'm like, for what? It still never occurred to me that I need to bury my baby. I'm looking at him like, for what? And then he tells me, and then we realize that people had done the arrangements, and uh, we have to go. And 5 o'clock was her funeral. And when you have a daughter, and in our culture we celebrate weddings so much. We think, oh, and we've been married also. We had walked down this aisle. I'd walked down this aisle as a 22-year-old, and I think, oh, my daughter will one day walk down an aisle, and we'll have to celebrate her wedding. And not that that's the only thing to celebrate. There are many things in life to celebrate, but those are one of the things, right? And taking her in the car, I'm just kissing her hands and feet, kissing her hands and feet. What do you do with the baby? And then we wrap her, and we drive, and the timing that she chose to pass away, Sneha, these things are not in her hands, okay? But she chose to pass away the day after my husband's sister came from Australia. And when she passed, the second sister, who was coming from the UK, was in customs waiting to come out of the airport. So she drove straight from the airport to the cemetery. And which, my baby Debbie, she couldn't speak. She could barely breathe and swallow. But in that moment, she told me that she was, because she's struggling to breathe, she waited till both her aunts who took all this trouble. One came from UK, one came from Australia with their daughters. So they came with their daughters to help me with my daughter, and she waited. So they were both there, and people coming to the funeral were shocked. They're like, how did how did this one from UK and this one from Australia come at this exact precise time, okay, and attend this funeral? But she waited for them, you know. So we go to the cemetery, and we're walking down this aisle, and they do the ceremony, they do the hymns, they read something from the Bible. We are Christians. And my grandmother, when she heard about this news, she could barely walk, but she came and she held my little baby, looked at her and prayed. And I really appreciate that about my grandma, that she came in that moment. And then they're like, okay, now we have to bury her. And in all of this time, they have a little coffin kept for her, but we've not put her in the coffin. My husband's holding her in his arms, right? Because after she passed away, she was in my arms, and then he had to go running. They made him, I don't know, go from pillar to post to get the death certificate. Okay, it took him like 4 hours to get it. Finally, he got it, but now he was not going to let her go. So he's just holding her. Nobody can take her from his hands. He's just holding her. He's not even giving her to me. He wants to hold her. Okay? Because, in the nights, every night of those 2 months and 4 days that she was alive, Sneha, she couldn't be kept on the bed. He would sleep with her in his arms. Okay? And I needed to sleep, otherwise I couldn't pump milk. So I would sleep. We had this arrangement. Okay? I pump milk and he puts her to sleep, because then he feeds her the milk. It's people don't realize, Sneha, how hard it is when a child is special. People look at the child, and yes, of course you look at the child, but then now, after going through what we did, I look at the parents, and I just want to kiss their hands, because what they go through. So we walk down this aisle. It's a very long aisle, and I'm just like in shock, because you think, you'll walk down an aisle of celebration, but in our case this was not to be. We kiss her, everybody takes a turn to kiss her, and then they quickly put her in this box. They cover the box, and I'm like, what's the hurry? But they just did it so fast, and they put it down and they put the mud. And I'm just, sometimes, people who go through tremendously traumatic circumstances, they faint, or they say we were not in our body. And I was not in my body. I was just looking at Meagan over there, and her husband, and this baby that they're burying. I was just watching myself, because after a point you're like, you can't take it anymore. We watch, everyone's coming, saying something, going away. The reverend's wife puts, you know, these red shoe flowers on her grave, and I'm just watching those flowers and just watching everything. And finally, they tell us, uh, you have some things to sign in the office. Otherwise, we would have just been standing there. I don't know for how long. We just stood. We just stood. What else? So we go, we sign, and then we're coming home. We're walking down that aisle again, and this time without our baby. And my arms were hurting. They were aching, because you had a baby, and now there's no baby. And we come back in the car, and there are relatives over there, and I just didn't want to hear people. I didn't want to hear communications. There was a person talking about all the good things she's done in her life, and that's not the time to talk about how good you've been or what you've done. I just go find some place quiet, and I'm sitting there, and I don't know what to think, what to do. And finally, everybody decides we have to leave. And my husband had gotten food for everyone. They ate, and my parents leave. Everybody leaves, and next day morning, I couldn't sleep that night. I'm just thinking about my baby, thinking about where she is, wanting to join her, wanting to be there, and engorged from not pumping. Now there's no need to pump. Okay, I'm in pain. I'm in emotional pain, and I look at my husband the next day, and I'm like, where is mom and dad? And he's like, they've gone back, meaning they just left. They left us that evening, and from there they went home to their home in Panval. And it was like somebody kicked me in the stomach. I bent over as if like a kick. Your daughter has just lost a daughter, and we just leave. It's fine. So then I realized, I looked at my 3-year-old, and I looked at my husband, and that's all I have right now in life. And sorry, sorry, I don't even have a tissue. Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me get a tissue. Oh yeah, that's all I have. It took me, Sneha, that whole year. It took me that whole year to recover. You know, uh, I'm not going to go into the details of things. It's no point right now. It's not pertaining to our birth conversation, but grief is something that just can eat you up. I just wanted to die. I wanted to kill myself. And I would ask my husband also, I'm like, so if I die, what will you do? And he just, I don't know, he'd mutter some things like, I'll have to carry on. I'll have to be strong for Shalom. So I thought, okay, then I have to be strong for Shalom too. And my husband's been like my rock. He's been my everything. 4 years before marriage, and after that as well. So I realized the least I can do for this man is to support him. Okay, so you have to be efficient about your grief to some extent. Okay, I'm crying, I'm grieving, but then also I have to. Life goes on. There's a husband, there's a child. Bills are still coming. You still need to live. You have a human body that still needs sustenance. Fine. I don't know what I did for that whole year 2023. I would just if I had a performance, I would just literally go and do it. I was performing in a week after she passed away. Okay, and it's very strange. But my husband was like, don't put up pictures of your performance because people will think that you're over it and that you didn't care about your baby. I'm like, but of course I care about my baby. It's like, but people will think differently. And strangely, Sneha, people finally, the first performance on the harp I did after my baby passed away was King Charles coronation. He was just getting coronated, and the UK embassy contacted me and they wanted me to play for the celebration in Mumbai of his coronation in the UK, and it was a big deal. But my husband's like, sorry, you're not going to put up these pictures, okay? And I'm like, fine, I'm not going to put up these pictures. Doesn't matter. When eventually, about 1 month, 2 months later, I put up pictures. Very strangely, we had a parent, we had a relative who had lost their baby as well 1 year after he was born. She was my husband's cousin. Very traumatic, very traumatic. And she tells me, I didn't think I needed to comfort you because you're working already. You seem fine, okay? And I just thought, okay, I understand people who have not walked this path, but people, in spite of walking this path, sometimes they can misunderstand that, oh, you're working, you're performing, you're looking all smiling in your pictures, that means you're okay, you know so well, eventually struggled through grief. I don't know what I did that 1 year. In the year 2020, early 2025, uh, we did our tests, everything, and we got pregnant again. And now that happened in 23 Jan of 23, when my baby was born. In March 31st she passed away. 23 has gone by, 24 has gone by, it's 25. At the beginning of 25, I just look at my life and I'm like, okay, we can try another time. So uh, when our test came clear, because I didn't want to put another child through what my baby Debbie had been through, it just in case me or my husband was something at fault with us. So we do our test, it's all clear. Then we try to have a child and she's conceived almost immediately, and I'm like, okay. On one hand I'm happy, on the other hand I'm not happy, because when we were trying to conceive Shalom, it took us about 6 months to conceive him, and with Debbie it was immediate. So I'm like, I just hope everything's okay this time round, because the second time when we tried, it turned out to be trisomy 18. But I just pray and believe. And it's very strange. In Feb that year I conceived. I didn't know I had conceived, but in Feb I make the decision to homeschool Shalom against my preconceived ideas about, you can't homeschool a single child, you can't homeschool in a city like Mumbai where you have smaller homes than the big palatial places we see abroad on YouTube, where they'll have a room for the children, a Montessori room for their things, and a separate bedroom for the children. Here in Mumbai, sometimes our 3 rooms we call the same one room. And I would think, no, Shalom is an only child, I can't homeschooling. We are in a little smaller house, I can't homeschooling. But then a mother in our church had a single child and she homeschooled that child, and she was working and she still homeschooled the child. So I thought, okay, I can do this, because I could see that he was going a path I didn't want him to go. So very much against my preconceived notions, I decided to homeschool Shalom in February 2025. 20th of Feb was his last day in school. I have a picture of that. Okay. March 8th, he would have started, March 9th, he would have started a new year in the school. March 8th, we decided to homeschool him, like officially. I sent the message to school and then I informed my family because, I couldn't inform them before that. They would have, not accepted. But now the school was informed, now he's officially out of school. So now he's homeschooled. Okay, so I've always had to do this, do what you have to do and then tell people because not everyone can understand. Not realizing that Sela was conceived also at the same time. And now that I know that I'm expecting, again the lookout for a gynac, and we were working with this particular gynac already for our tests, and he had been recommended by a certain doula who works with him. So I'm thinking, okay, now at least we are on the right part, and this doctor is talking me back, and he's recommended by a doula. He works with this doula. Nothing can go wrong now. Okay, we do the first scan test. Again, it comes exactly the replica of my second baby's test, that the nasal bone is not properly ossified. I was devastated. I'm like crying over there. Okay, they can't console me over there. They bring me out, and they're like, "We want to see your second baby's documents." So then you know what? When you have an instance like this of trisomy 18, they don't look at you as a normal pregnancy. They always look at you as a high risk pregnancy, and they will always look at your reports through the lens of your second baby's reports. Doesn't matter if the first was normal. So they are looking through her reports, my second baby's reports. They are judging this report based on that. They're like, big chance you might have to abort the child, you might not have to continue this pregnancy. So I'm like, okay, fine. I come home and I'm still in tears. I'm praying. I'm just believing God. And the Bible says in the verse, rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice, meaning always in every circumstance. And the person who wrote this verse was in prison at the time when he wrote this verse. So I'm like, Lord, everything again in my heart right now is to just weep and cry, but I'm going to just try to rejoice. Even if I can't rejoice, I'll try to rejoice. So I'm trying to pray. I'm trying to just thank God for whatever He's done. I'm trying to be grateful for whatever He's done in my life till now. And what else can you do? We go to my gynac. He's like, look, we have to do everything. We have to do all the tests. We have to do the amniocentesis. I just dreaded. I'm a person who can't look at an injection now. Even if they give me an injection, I'll tell them, look, I can't stand injections. Just try to make it as painless as possible. And I'm looking the other way. Tell me when you're done, then I will face you. I'm that kind of person. Okay. Even my child takes injections better than me. So fine, we do the amniocentesis test, much against everything against me not to do it. And the test, by God's grace, comes out fine, that the baby was fine, that the baby is okay, that there's no trace of trisomy or anything. Because you can do all the tests, but it's only this test which will guarantee that is it this way or that way. Now we were clear that we wanted our baby anyways, but my husband said, look, we have to be prepared. Just in case it turns out that way, we have to be prepared. So I respected his intentions. We did it. Everything's okay. We go for the next scan that they do, and they find something else. They're like, oh, the artery which was supposed to go in the front is going from the back. This can mean something else, like another genetic issue. It's okay in 20% of the population, but in the rest of the 80%, it means something, that there can be a genetic issue. You'll only know when she's born. So now this was another shock, but we're like, okay, we're just going to pray. We've come so far, we're just going to pray and we're going to believe God. And that's when I connect with Sneha, because not Sneha, I connect with Anisha as my doula, because this I remember I used to read a lot. I used to listen to a lot of VBAC stories on Apple Podcasts. Okay, and I would listen that they all had a doula. So I thought, okay, we should have a doula. I don't know exactly how this helps, really how it would help in my situation with this gynac and their hospital policies, but I think we should have a doula. So something just, it's so important to respect your instincts. So I didn't go with the doula that this doctor regularly works with, who had in fact recommended this doctor, and I was working with him. I went with Anisha. I spoke to Anisha. I felt comfortable with her, and I worked with Anisha, and she visited, and it was really nice. But she was a support, and she also came to me with the doctor, and I really appreciate that. At the same time, it was very strange. There are small things which we don't realize, but your instinct picks this up. Whenever I would ask my VBAC friendly doctor, so how do we prepare for a VBAC, he'd be like, it all depends on the scar thickness, and that's all he would say. And okay, and after that, no, it all depends on the scar thickness, it all depends on the scar thickness. And he kept saying this again and again every visit. So fine. Then I spoke to Anisha, and Anisha knows that I've been speaking to this doctor, and this is all that the doctor's been brainwashing me with, right? I didn't know it was brainwash at the time. So I'm ready telling Anisha, look, the doctor's saying like this. It all depends on the scar thickness. So Anisha was also like, okay. And then she's like, why don't you read this? Why don't you do this? And I'm looking at it. These doctors and these opinions are not really prioritizing the scar thickness so much. So now I'm even more confused. And finally she mentions, I call up Anisha, and she's like, look, now I'm going to work with your doctor, so I have to come for one visit. So I'm like, okay, fine, you're most welcome. So we gladly bring her along for one visit to our gynac. When she's there, he's checking me, and he presses the scar super hard. Like you anywhere you press on somebody's tummy this hard, they're going to shout. When he pressed so hard, now he's been checking my scar every time I go, and this time only why he's pressing it so hard. I'm thinking something is not right here, but something tells me, even if you want to scream your lungs out, don't scream. Just don't scream. This will be over in 2 seconds. Don't scream. So he's pressing hard. He's expecting a response. He's looking at my face. I'm not screaming. He gives up. We go back. Okay. And I was like wondering, why did he do that? He's never done that before. Okay. And I just happened to mention it to Anisha about even 2 months later. Because we trust doctors so much, we don't assume that they will do anything that will, I thought, no, he can't be doing this because Anisha is here. Not possible. Okay. Then I happened to listen to some feedback story, and they said the same thing, that when their doula was there, the doctor pressed the scar very hard. I was like, what? It happened with me also. And we tend to like give them the benefit of the doubt. No, he must be really trying now, because it's coming time up for the baby to be born. But when that lady also said, and then I heard the story again and again, I was like, so this must be a fact that he was trying to make me shout so that he can tell Anisha, look, her scar is very thin. But anyways, I didn't give him that reason, because I didn't shout. I just passed it. And then he wanted the scar thickness done. He was after me to do the scar thickness test. Now by now, Sneha, I have heard enough from Anisha, and I've now read about specifically scar thickness, and I've listened to enough to realize, oh, this is not such a big deal after all. Okay. And even my doctor with Shalom, who had said, no, once a cesarean, always a cesarean, and he had done that second C-section of mine, he had also frightened me a lot, that you don't know what will happen. Suddenly it will tear, and you might die, the baby will die, we will not be able to do anything, we won't even know if something like this is happening. you know so obviously, when a doctor who is so learned says these things, you obviously trust. Fine. Now I'm beginning to question scar thickness, and I'm talking to Sneha, and I'm not Sneha, I'm sorry, I'm talking to Anisha, and I'm like, look, I'm so confused, what should we do? Okay, what we should do? And good enough, she's like, it so happens, you're talking to me, that this Sunday we are meeting at this midwife Sneha's house. Why don't you just come, it's okay, we're having lunch, come, no? And someone with a Persia name is also coming, we're meeting, you just come, it's a nice meeting of all the mothers. Okay. Now my husband's like, look, you have a gynac, you have a doula, why do you need a midwife? Why are you adding more khichdi, more, more cooks will spoil the soup. He's giving me all his gyan. I'm like, look, nothing will happen, I will just go, and I will just be listening, and I will come back. I will not make any decision over there, don't worry. So even while I'm going, he's like, look, you're going, we don't know who are these people, if you want to leave in 5-10 minutes also, you leave, I'll book an Uber for you to come back, but you don't have to stay the whole meeting. Okay. So I'm like, yeah, for sure, okay, I will just go and we'll see. So I go, and there I'm just watching, and it's very strange, but Ruchi, one of the, I shouldn't say her name, one of the ladies who was right in front of me climbing up the steps, I'm expecting her also, oh, you're a mother? She's like, yeah, I'm a mother. And we don't ask so many questions on the steps, but then I'm going, we are in Sneha's house now. Okay. And I'm looking at all these ladies, Tapasya ma'am is there, and I'm talking to this other lady who I met going up the steps, and I'm like, how is your baby? How old is your baby? And I didn't know, but her baby had passed away, actually, born as the home birth and passed away immediately after birth. And I'm asking her from across the room. She's like, I'll come next to you and talk to you. So she comes next to me, and she's telling me this. I'm like, really? Oh, even I tell her my little bit of my story. So she understands that I understand that I've walked the same path. But she says something which struck me. She's like, even though my baby passed away as soon as she was born, I'm very happy that I had the birth at home. And that shocked me, because we are always told these people, they give birth at home and then the baby doesn't make it, and because they had the birth at home. So I'm thinking, oh, she's had a home birth, her baby has passed away, and she's still happy that she had a home birth. This is very strange. Okay. And then I'm listening to the stories, and all the women coming in, they are like almost crying and hugging Sneha and Tapasya, and they're like, thank you so much, because of you we had our VBAC 3C, VBAC 4C. There was one lady, I think VBAC 5C or 6C also, and I'm like, this is crazy. How can these women have a VBAC after having a C-section, first of all, and then 3 after 3 C-section, 4 C-section? I'm in shock. So I'm listening, I'm just listening, absorbing everything that's going on. And then Sneha, you were so kind enough to give me this book, The Silent Knife. And I'm so touched by generosity, because somebody to give you their precious book, and you don't know me, like I'm coming to your house for the first time, and you just put this book in my hands and you're like, read it. So then we do some activities, and I happen to share a little bit of my story, and you all made us do the tree of life. I still have that tree of life, I still look at it, and I share my story. And when I'm speaking of my baby, just 1 second, someone's at the door, just give me a second. Sorry. So when I shared my story to Tapasya, I could literally see that I felt like I was talking to a human being. Like she came, she hugged me, she had tears in her eyes. She could feel, she could empathize with my situation. Contrast. After my second baby passed away, I went to the doctor as a follow-up appointment. I'm looking at him and saying, Doctor, you know what happened to our baby? He's like, Yes, I know. And like, blank. Like, I could have spoken to a wall, and the wall may have had more compassion. And I'm like, and he had nothing more to say. Just that one sentence, I know. And he was just like, I mean, we could have been speaking about how blue the sky is, or how it's the month of June now. Nothing. Like, I don't expect anything. I just expect, yes, I'm so sorry about that. That would have been enough, even. Something, Sneha, in that moment, it just broke in me towards the medical system. I realized I have lived all my life believing, trusting that this person has studied, has gone to college, medical college, wants my good. And I'm not putting down doctors in any way right now. I know that there are a lot of doctors there who really want good for their patients. Okay? But when there's a mother who's lost a child looking at you and saying, Doctor, do you know what's happened? Yes, I know. And nothing after that. I realized, okay, fine. I have to make choices for myself and listen to my instincts as much as I'm listening to the doctor, if not more. Okay. I saw compassion in Tapasya's face, and then I told us, hey, look, I have been going. Did my best. First, maybe, okay, I understand I got it wrong. I went with somebody who was on a different page as me. Second time, I had no option now. It was IUGR. Third time round, this doctor is saying, it depends on the scar thickness. Now I know it depends on more than the scar thickness, and sometimes even gynacs are saying the scar thickness is not the only thing. Now what I should do? So I remember the person just held me like that and said, "You need to have confidence in your own self. You're looking at this one and that one to support you. You should also look at your own self and get strength that you can do it. You should have that much confidence in yourself, because it's not your doctor who's birthing the baby. You are birthing the baby." So I was like, okay, fine, okay, okay. And then I come back and I'm listening, okay, because first time around I'm in this room where people are actually talking about these kind of things, about having what happens after C-section. Sometimes there are mothers there who've even lost a baby in all of this, and in the hospital, not home birth. So even hospitals, they lose babies, they just don't talk about it. Okay. So fine, I come back home, I'm reading Sneha's book, Silent Knife. I'm trying to tell my husband to read. He's like, no, no, you read and you tell me. So I'm like, okay, fine. At least he's willing to listen. So I'm reading and I'm telling him, look, this book is written by actual doctors. It's by people who've done C-sections themselves. They are doctors in other fields. They've gone into this, they had to go to a gynac when their baby was born, and this is what happened. Then they opted for home birth. I'm telling him all that I'm reading. I'm reading also about the negative side effects about C-sections which nobody tells you about. Personally, in my own experience, an aunt has backaches ever since the day she had that first injection in her spine. She had a C-section, uh, normal delivery in a hospital, and then again a C-section. The first C-section she had, she still suffers backache every day. It's been 27 years. Another friend of mine, the mother was an athlete. She started dragging her feet after that C-section injection that they gave. When she was getting older, she finally was in a wheelchair. Now she's in a wheelchair. Her mother's in a wheelchair and she's in a wheelchair, both of them. She's been in a wheelchair ever since she's in her late 30s. Now she's in her 50s. Okay? All because of that injection. Um, just give me a second. Okay, so sorry, I'm sorry. Baby needed me for a second. All right. I'm sorry. There are questions in the chat. Maybe I should just stop here and answer them.
Yeah, we can answer it later. We can answer it later. You continue the story and then we can answer it later.
Okay. Yes. Yes. That's the part why we are here, right? Okay. I read the book. I tell my husband I'm getting Sneha on board. I have to speak to Sneha, so we get Sneha on board. She came for 2 or 3 visits, and I felt so different in the way that she was, uh, just even the checkup was so gentle compared to how it was with the gynac, and I felt like she understood, as with my instinct also as a mother giving birth, that it's more than just your physical body having a baby. It's you as a woman giving birth, your emotions, your past thoughts, your childhood, everything comes into play. And and Sneha, when we walked through a lot of things, she would spend 3 hours, 4 hours. A doctor's appointment is like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, max to max 15 minutes. Okay? And they're not really asking you so many questions, or if you have maybe something low iron or something, they just prescribe tablets, medicines. But I really like that it was a very natural approach with Sneha. Like, she would be like, okay, you add this to your diet in terms of fruits, add this to your diet in terms of vegetables. And we walked through a lot of things. Finally, I think I do the scan, the scar thickness, which the doctor recommended. Sneha was like, it's no needed. Even Tapasya ma'am was like, it's not needed. And also, what really, more than for me, I was willing to trust Sneha like that. But my husband was like, okay, it's good that she's working with a senior. Two people, two heads are better than one, because I don't know what my wife is doing. So he was very happy that it was two people than one midwife. See, I said, look, you got two midwives. And Tapasya also, I want to mention, she went to a whole course with us, what to do, what not to do, what to expect, what not to expect, the things that can go wrong. And I went through all of it, and I'm like, yes, I'm good with all of this, and I really appreciate that you have taken your time to go through this with us, because most people think, oh, you do a home birth, you just do it, you don't really know what you're doing. But I'm glad that we went through that, and it also gave us confidence in who we were working with, I feel. Then we didn't want to do the scar thickness, and my doctor was getting mad, and I didn't realize it, but he was calling Anisha and continuously uh, talking to her, trying to pressurize her to get me to do what he wanted me to do. And that's when I realized why he works with a certain doula, because she makes them do what the doctor wants them to do. And I'm so thankful to God that Anisha was professional enough to say, look, I can present Meagan what she wants to, her options, and then Meagan has to decide. I can't force Meagan to do anything, which made the doctor now even more angry, because he's not able to use Anisha as to get me to do what he wants to do. So finally my husband's like, look, if the doctor is so determined to do this scar thickness scanning test, let's just do it. Let's make him happy. It's ultimately we can make our choice after that. So fine. Now he's already very furious with me, but finally we go to do the test. We do it on the 8th of, we do the test, actually it was the 8th, we do the, no, 7th, or it was, no, it was 8th. We do the test on the 8th. It was a Friday, I remember. The radiologist is like, I want to talk to your doctor. So he calls him up. He's like, the scar is very thin. The baby, he had like so many things to say which were wrong. He frightened the daylights out of us, the radiologist.
The placenta is getting old.
Yeah,
calcification of the
yeah,
placenta.
yeah. He wrote. I'm telling you, there were 11 or 12 things completely wrong with me, according to him. The placenta was completely calcified, which, according to him, it was not supporting the baby. There was almost no amniotic fluid. The baby was head up, was not engaged. Uh, so many things, so many things. Uh, he's like, all of this is totally wrong with your pregnancy, with your baby. You have to do an emergency C-section. The baby is not being supported inside. Okay, and finally, at the end of all of this, but the baby is healthy. Full stop. That was my report. And they were so concerned and perturbed, right, that they stopped all their formalities at the clinic. They got my report printed, put it in my hand. They're like, go from here straight to your doctor. Go get your C-section done today itself. I'm like, okay. And my doctor speaks to my husband inside. Then he talks to him as soon as we are out of the clinic. He's like, get home and call me. And we know what that meant. So I remember we're standing at our vehicle. I'm just crying now. I'm just crying because I know what's going to happen. This has happened twice before. It's going to happen again. And my husband's like literally begging me. He's like, they are saying the placenta is not supporting the baby. You are breathing. I'm feeding you. I can't do anything for this baby inside your womb. I can't. I mean, how do I support the baby if the placenta is not supporting the baby? We have to do an emergency C-section now. Just please listen, okay? All your talk, all your midwife talk is fine, but now we have to do a C-section. I was in tears. I come back. I remember we stopped for Nariyal Pani on the way, and we come back, and I'm just sitting on the bed, and I'm like, okay, I just call Sneha and say that I'm sorry, we're going for the emergency C-section. So I call up Sneha, and she's like, wait, I'll put Tapasya on the line. So Tapasya also comes on the line. They're like, send us the report. I send the report. They're like, this is completely normal. I'm like, no, the doctor said 11 things are wrong. Everything is wrong. They're like, send us the report. Like, actually take a picture and send. So we send. So Tapasya gets on the call with me. She's like, women's placentas in Calcutta are more calcified than this. It just means that there's more calcium in your body, and that's absorbed by the placenta, and then the baby is breathing. Can't you see? The baby is being supported. Everything is fine. So right there in front of me were two separate opinions, one by this gynac, one by this one my midwife. Who do I believe? Okay, and by God's grace, I'm so grateful to God that they came in at that moment, because my doctor gets on the call with me. He's like, he listed out to me. See, he's like, even if one thing was wrong, we would have to do a C-section. Now there are 11 things wrong, and especially your scar thickness is super thin. It's paper thin. It can just burst at any time. The baby can rupture. The baby will be lost. Okay, we can't do anything about it. We have to schedule the emergency C-section either by tonight or tomorrow morning. Okay, I'm like, okay, doctor, thank you so much. I'll get back to you. And then Sneha and Tapasya sit me down on the phone and they talk to me. Okay, list the symptom. I list the symptom. They're like, this is normal. This is the reason why. Next symptom. I list the symptom. This is normal. This is the reason why. So I was like, okay, I breathed a sigh of relief. I'm like, okay, I'm just not making a decision here, but this decision is supported by valid information. Fine. Next morning I had to teach harp class. So I give my students a harp class. Instead of being in a C-section operation theater getting operated on, I'm giving harp class. I'm going about my life as normal. I didn't know Sneha was desperately calling me, thinking maybe I've gone for a C-section. I didn't know. I pick up the phone after my class and I'm like, yes, Sneha, we're supposed to meet today. She's like, yes, we'll meet today evening. She comes, we do a checkup. I'm in this whole mode of cleaning my house. My husband's After she goes, my husband's like, let's go for Lonavala picnic tomorrow. See, my sister is down, every family members. I'm like, look, you go for a picnic. I want to clean my house. And my son was also with me. Yeah, mama, we'll clean the house. Let dada go for the picnic. So my husband's like, okay, I've got two people who want to clean the house. We'll just stay at home. So I'm cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. After Sneha goes, I literally sleep at like 2 a.m. I remember writing my gratitude journal at 1:50 that morning on the 9th. Okay, I've written 9th of November, 1:50. I'm so grateful for Sneha and Tapasya in my life. I'm so grateful that for Sneha's visit, I've written all these things down, not realizing that I will go into contractions at 6:30 that morning. And once the contractions start, I'm like, oh no, again I've been awake all night. And same thing that happened the first pregnancy. Again, I'm coming into this situation sleep deprived. And I'm thinking it will pass, because Sneha had warned me, look, it can take up to 2 weeks even, because the body opens slowly. So I'm prepared that this is going to take 2 weeks. This is just the starting. Everything is going to be okay. And another thing, I couldn't even tell my family. I live in a joint family. I couldn't tell my joint family that I was doing a home birth, because it's like telling them I'm committing suicide. Okay, they already think I'm mad because I'm homeschooling my baby, and now if I say homework, they're going to just think I've lost it. Okay, so Sneha, I remember you came on the 8th and you're like, you're having a home birth, you're living in a joint family, you've not told your family that you're having a home birth. I'm like, yes, Sneha, I can't tell. I can't bring it to my lips that I'm having a home birth. I can't speak it to my family. And they will ask, so where are you going for the delivery? And we will name all the hospitals. So by now, they have given up. They're like, okay, these stupid people will go to some hospital and just leave it. Okay, so it's Sunday morning, and on Sunday morning, my whole family goes to church, and I start getting into contractions at 6:30. My husband's like, okay, I can do without all these people in the house, and anyways, he knew that I didn't want anybody in the house, but I wanted a home birth. Now, how do you chase people out of the house? So he made them go to church. Even those who didn't want to go to church, he woke them up and pushed them out of the house with their clothes and get ready in the car, just get out, go to church. And he told them, after church, make sure you go to this particular restaurant and have nice lunch over there and then come home. Okay, so they are okay, fine. They all listen to him, they all go out. I'm in contractions and I'm seeing my father-in-law leave, my mother-in-law, and I'm like just stopping my mouth from making any noises or making them assume that she's gone into labor or anything. He shuts the door on them. He tells me everyone's left. We're alone at home, and I just heave a sigh of relief. I'm like, "Oh, thank God," and I can just literally let myself go into this. And the contractions start. I'm straight away starting pushing, and the next thing I know, Tapasya is on. My husband had put Tapasya and Sneha on video call, and they're like, "What's happening?" I'm like, "I'm pushing." They're like, "What? No, you are must be no." I'm like, "I'm actually pushing," and then they actually see me pushing, and I'm just holding on to my little baby, my Shalom's wooden chair, and I'm pushing, and I didn't mention this, but before this, all this time, I'm visualizing my great grandmother. I had never thought about her so much all my life, but suddenly I'm thinking about her every morning. I'm waking up thinking about her, that she had a baby at home, that she had a baby at home. And I'm like, why am I thinking about her every day and so much, and literally meditating on this? But it would just keep coming to me. She had a baby at home, and she went to the field till the last day that she worked, and then she had a baby at home. Fine. Um, and as I'm pushing there, I'm not even realizing that I'm in labor, I'm having a baby, my scar might something, nothing. I'm just telling my husband, give me food to eat, because and in my mind I'm thinking, they said it'll take 2 weeks, they said it'll take 2 weeks. I don't know how this level of thing can take 2 weeks, but it can. I'm warning myself. I'm just preparing, and I'm eating, I'm trying to eat, I'm desperately trying to hydrate myself. And I'm pushing and pushing. Then the next thing I know, Sneha's there, Anisha's come, and they're like, oh, it was really dark. I just wanted pitch dark. And they're like, let's go into the next room. There'll be more space there. So I very reluctantly go into the next room just because there'll be more space. Because in Mumbai, our homes are small. And then Sneha brings this bird stool. So let's just like sit on this bird stool. So I'm sitting there, and by then, already you can see the baby crowning. And there's a little bit of the water bag. And Sneha's like, see, I can see the water bag. The baby's crowning. And I'm just holding my husband and just thinking in my mind, this is exactly what happened in our yeah, Meg Askin's birth village, that the partners were together, not one in another room or something like that. And my husband had put some little lights there, and I'm like, oh, he actually remembered to do that. And I'm absorbing all of this without realizing. And then I just wanted to be on my fours, and he's kept the water that we had a water thing ready, and I didn't want to be in any of that. I just wanted to be on my fours, and I wanted pitch darkness. Only two requests. And then he comes, do you want some music? I'm like, no, I just don't want anything. I just don't want to be on my fours, and I want no light. Okay. And then suddenly Sneha's like, Megan, stop pushing, stop doing anything. The baby will come on its own. And in what seemed like eternity, I could feel the baby engaged, and then the baby came on her own. And they had to literally grab the my husband grabbed the baby. And Sneha is like, it's a girl. And I remember in my mind thinking, what will I feel like if it's a girl? Because I just lost a baby girl, and it will be actually in a way joy and at the same time pain, because I'm remembering my baby who is not with me. And fine, I'm holding my baby. We're connected with this amniotic, with this placenta,
God.
with this cord, with the cord, and then the cord comes. I'm nursing, and the cord comes out on its own. And then they help me into a bed, and I'm in my own home, in my own bed. And it took me like a long time to recover. I don't know, I think the speed at which everything happened, my
Yeah.
body was not able to uh, I don't know. It just, my recovery was longer because I see women recovering quite fast, but for me, I remember it took at least 2 weeks before I was able to even stand. But I just want to say that it's so important to follow your instincts and not even sometimes tell everybody what you're going to do. If I had to tell everybody what I was going to do, I would not, may not have been doing this. Okay, so just people on the same wavelength as you, just let them only know. So my parents didn't know, people I lived with in the same house didn't know, only Sneha and Tapasya knew. And I just want to mention and thank God, I just prayed and prayed, and that one meeting, Sneha, at your house changed everything, changed the whole course of this birth. And okay, now baby is born, she's fine, she's healthy, everything is okay. You guys spent like 2 hours, just more than 2 hours, just with us at home. I mean, which doctor does this? Okay, and you all just comforted us that there's no need to rush to a hospital now. Not that I would have been able to even walk, I couldn't literally get up for 2 weeks. I don't know, when I had my C-section, I was like walking in 3 days, but obviously with so much trauma, with so much whatever, and then having to do that operation again in a month. But in this case, people listened to you. I had my husband next to me. I mean, he was just like a rock of support the whole time and helped me in everything. And I can see the effects even now on my little girl. She's already standing. She barely crawled 1 or 2 days. Then she crawled back. Then she crawled front. And I'm thinking with Shalom, I don't know why, but it was so slow. It literally took 15 days everything. But with her, it's like 2 days this, 2 days that. Now 3 4 days she's been trying to stand. Today she's standing on her own without support. Just little bit holding something. I am shocked by her progress. And then I didn't know this when I was working with Sneha and Tapasya, and they're so sweet, they don't even say. But after she's born, anything I need, any time of the day or night, I just have to message on my birth group. They reply. Somebody will reply, and they guide us so well in terms of homeopathy, what to do, what not to do. You get so frazzled sometimes as a mother, thinking, oh, I don't want to do something wrong, there's a fever going on, what should I do? And they immediately reply and give you such common sense advice. So I'm so grateful for this group of women who supported me. And if you are looking to have a midwife, please, and if you're in India, you don't have to go to some foreign country, you can contact Sneha and Tapasya. Okay, so really quickly, I'll just look at questions.
Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you so much, Megan. I would like to just add on with my and Anisha's experience. So it was Sunday morning. I was supposed to take my kids to the garden, and I'm all ready with all my abaya and everything. And then Vijay calls up and saying, "Oh, there's something happening to Megan. She's not in contraction, but she's pushing." I'm like, "Hey, nothing like that. Huh? We by 2C will take that much of time." And then early morning, so again, Tapasya, I called up Tapasya, like, what is he saying? तो ये ऐसे कैसे होता है? And then we are on the call, and she's in the dark room, and all fours, and see, this is what is she doing. Anisha is like, oh, I think Sneha, you got to rush. I'm calling Anisha. Anisha is the doula. Anisha, rush. And then I was glad that my house was so quick to, like, very near to her. And then we both reaches, like I reach at 9:30, and that was the last person from the house who's leaving the house. And like Vijay is saying, you know what? Sab gaya aur ye khali apne liye. The house is empty. All of them is gone. This is the last person I've sent. I'm like, okay, okay. And then I go in, and then she's eating, she's grunting, she's all force. I'm wondering, eating in transition. No mother eats, drinks, calls for food, but she is doing it. And she's like, how is the contraction? I feel like pooping. Feel like pooping. Okay. Then we like say, okay, okay, I sat for there half an hour, and then like, you want to have pooping sensation and you want to have a baby, and for that you got to remove your pants. Oh, acha, ऐसा है क्या? मैंने याद है. How will the husband like? How will the baby come then? Like, and when I removed the pants, we saw like great anal dilation and so much of poop. And I'm like, what do you feel? And she's like, I feel good. I just want everything like this and that. And the husband is like pumping the water pool because she wanted to birth in the water. I'm like, we do not have time to do all of these. Let's just set the next room with basic things. Acha, acha, ठीक है, ठीक है. And like, he was such a hands-on father and husband. I'm so glad, a lot of respect for Vijay. And then we got her. I made the stool, the birth stool ready, and we made her sit. And she's like, I still feel comfortable there. And we had a birth ball. Anisha was sitting on the birth ball. I was there ahead, and she was all fours. And she was like, hey, something is coming. Something is coming. Oh, the baby is coming. I'm like, okay, Vijay, would you like to catch the baby? So like, Vijay, how I catch? And then he goes and catches the baby like this. And the baby has a cord around. And now he does not know what to do because she's all fours and the baby is right here. I'm like, okay, okay. The baby is out. Then I took the baby and gave it to Megan. And I shouted, I guess, because it was a baby girl. For me, it was um very touchy because prenatally I was so connected to Megan. Megan had called me weeks, just a week before that, Sneha, what should I do? I just remember my daughter so much. I just feel like crying every day. And
Hmm.
Tapasya and me, when we were discussing about this, so Tapasya was like, this can be a pre-labor sign when she just want to vent out. She just want to remember her daughter, and she's crying. So let her cry. No, 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 keeping it inside. So we said that, and she cried until she felt better. And the other 2 days, I think she was just cleaning. The day which I went prior to the birth, she was like so nicely cleaning the cupboard of her sons and keeping all the books. And she's like, I just feel like doing, and that is what we call nesting instinct. Then she did that, and later she was like, I only do, I'm like, do you feel something else? Do you feel like cramps coming in? Something, no pre labor sign except for nesting instinct. And she had cried a week prior for her daughter. And then later she said, I just feel like going forward leaning. No, I don't want to sit on my butt. I just want to go forward leaning. That's the only pre-labor sign of whatever you call as labor. And then this beautiful birth happened. The first person to enter was her maid, and she was like, "Bachcha ro raha hai?" And then all of them from the church, they came in and they were so surprised. What? The baby's born? And then, oh, this woman who used to come for those meetings and she's supposed to be doing it. And they were like, they later get taking information from me. Was it a planned thing? And then I said we were supposed to go somewhere to the doctor, but then, the baby just came and then, acha, 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 okay, all of it is good now. Yeah, it's all good. And then we had this amazing time where, yeah, because I think also Megan needed a lot of rest, and that's what birth we need to do after birth is rest. So that's a part of my side of the story. And yeah, any questions? Oh, it was such a
Okay, I want to
heartwarming
also
story. Thank you
mention.
so much,
Okay,
Megan.
sorry, one second,
Tapasya,
one second. Guys,
yeah,
just wait, please, 1 second. I have to see
yeah.
something. So that's the little girl who we are talking about. All right. So I forgot. I have to just mention one thing that Sneha said, which was really precious. Sometimes, you know, uh, we she mentioned to me, you need to talk to the baby. And I was like, what? Talk to the baby? Like, I always struggled with that. Like it was very strange for me. But she's like, no, 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 you try to talk. At least try. I'm like, okay, fine, I will try. So, you got to listen. So I was like, chalo, I will try to listen to Sneha and I will try to talk to the baby. But it was very hard. Then, I had just started learning an instrument called the cello. Okay, I'm a harpist. You can see the harpist behind me. Okay, she's determined to speak also. Shh, shh, wait, ma. Okay, you play with Didi. So, I remember thinking, okay, I have to, practice my cello. I have to do cello recordings. Okay, so when they told me, Santa's not looking up to come out soon. Okay, fair enough. On when Sneha came on the 8th, again she came to visit me. Okay, 1 second. Um, so she's like, uh, I hope you're talking to the baby. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. I'm talking. I'm just trying to talk to the baby. Okay, so um, after she goes, internally, I just feel the baby telling me, Mama, you said you want to do all your cello recordings, cello videos. You do that, then I will come. And I was like, my God, the baby was actually listening to me like that. I'm telling my husband, I like to be efficient. I'm like, I will finish, because, Christmas is coming up. I need to do all this before because I don't know, once the baby comes, I will not get time. I will finish all of this and, hopefully then the baby will come. She had been listening to me and she was waiting for me, in a way to give permission. So I have this conversation with her in the night on the 8th, not even with words, just my mind saying, baby, it's okay, mama, all of mama's work can wait, all my cello recording, a video, YouTube video, everything can wait, you come when you want to come, okay. And then good enough, ninth she's born, and I was in shock. I'm like, wow, she actually listened to me, and not even with words, just like very very sincere thought to her. And as I was in pushing this image of my grandmother, great grandmother, giving birth, she had 7 births at home. I could literally see her going from the field, going to the house. Them calling the lady. They would call them Ai in uh, uh, Goa. They call the Ai, and she gave birth in the house. Could literally see that in my. I could literally see this electricity, and then I could hear my baby telling me, "Mama, don't worry. I am coming slowly and safely. Mama, I love you. I am coming slowly and safely." I'm pushing, and this she's actually speaking to me, and I can sense that so loudly. Like, you tell somebody this, they'll think you're mad. But it is a fact that when we give birth, it is we are connected to our children, and it's, we live in a world where if I touch and I see this, it is there. If I don't touch and see it, it is not there. But there is so much more to what we can touch and see, and I could feel her telling me, Mama, I love you and I'm coming slowly and safely, multiple times. So then I was not scared about the rupturing anymore. And one more thing, I could see my gynec's face, because when I went after my report, no, I didn't do the report. And my husband's like, look, he's desperate to see us. Let us go and see him. So I go, I had gone on Tuesday. Now the report, we find it the test on Friday, but I went on Tuesday. Now he's been trying to get me to come to him from the previous week. When I enter his clinic, his face is red. He was a fair guy, so when he's angry, his face is red, and I can make out full attitude change towards me. Red in the face. Why can't you do this test? What is your problem about not doing it? Full change. And what to say. I whatever with the meeting went okay. Okay, full reprimanding, scolding, everything, because he needed that thing, that he needed to know that my uh, scar was little on the thinner side, to say now you have to do C-section, right? So, and I was not, if I didn't do that test, he didn't have that in his hand. So he was very angry with me, and as I was leaving his clinic, you know the lord the Lord Jesus told me, look at his face. I said, I can see his face. He's like, you will never see this man's face again. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you will never see this man's face again. And so on Friday, when we did the scan, and he's calling me, you have to come for the C-section, you have to do schedule an emergency C-section. And then Sneha and Tabasya give me another report. I was like, okay. And then ninth, I'm having contractions, and my doctor's angry, gynec's angry face is coming in front of me, because how do you tell your doctor you want to not have a C-section? So I said he had to go out for a holiday. So he said, I'm going on Saturday afternoon. I will only come back Monday morning. So you have to schedule your C-section either today, Friday evening, or Saturday morning. Fine. So my husband's like, look, we can't offend the person. So you tell him, doctor, you go for a holiday, and then we'll think about it, doing it on Monday. When I go into labor on Sunday morning, I can see his angry face, and I'm like, Lord Jesus, if it is possible, okay, I'm not saying this in pride or in like to be mean to him in any way, but please, if it is possible, that I know Sneha and Tapasya have said 2 weeks, but if we can have this baby maybe today, or by max tomorrow Monday morning, then by Monday evening I have to speak to him, I can tell him, baby is born. Now what we can do? We can't have a C-section now. Okay, so I'm just making this very humble prayer, looking at seeing my gynec's face, in front of my eyes as I'm having this normal delivery. And then good enough, the baby came, and then my husband messages the gynac, and he was in shock. He called up Anisha, and he was on her life. What happened? How it happened? How can she have a baby at home? And he had told me, you don't have my permission to have a baby at home. You can't have, not baby at home. You don't have my permission to have a normal birth. And I remember telling Tapasya this, she's like, you are having the baby, right? Why do you need anyone's permission to have your baby? And I'm like, oh yeah, okay, fine. We are so used to just listening and accepting people's opinions however they are. So I realized, oh, okay. So I messaged him, and he was still in shock, and he messaged me, congratulations, just one word. and he's calling up Anisha and like fighting with her, like, what happened? He wants to know, for him, how can a woman give birth without a doctor? How can a woman go against her doctor's advice and have a C-section? And you know what, I'm so, one thing I want to say, please, if you're pregnant or having a baby, talk to your child. And secondly, like, just how my second baby chose the day she passed, when the whole family was there from Australia, from Australia, UK. My baby girl, the one who came after Sella, her name is, she chose the time of her birth. I couldn't choose it, and she chose the time with my wishes when no one was at home. Okay, so when everyone was in church, my mother-in-law calls up the maid to give her instructions what to do, how to do, and she's hearing a baby cry. She's like, "Who's that baby crying?" That's when we realized, we were so involved in this whole birth thing, we forgot to even tell them, forgot to tell anybody. And so then my husband takes the phone from the didi, because the didi should not tell them, right? You have a grandchild before him. So he takes the phone, speaks on the didi's phone, and they come running home. But by then everything was done, the baby was born, and now nothing could be done. Okay, the baby was born at home, and they are in shock. Okay, they were like in shock. And yeah, so people tell me, oh, you were so brave to have a home birth. I say, I'm not brave. I was not brave at all. It is not a situation where you're like trying to show how brave you are. I was just well supported. That's it. And it's a place time where you want to make the best choice for your baby. So had Sneha and Tapasya not stepped in at that important point and said, look, this, what they are saying is abnormal, is actually normal, and this is the evidence to support it, I would have had just another C-section, like any other intelligent woman trying to make a good choice for herself and her baby. But because of Sneha and Tapasya, I mean, today I have a different story. So, Sneha, I remember you, after like you came even after the baby was born and spent so many hours and just time with us. You I remember you doing this. You like held my hands and you're like, okay, I release you now, because now the baby is born and everything. But Sneha, I can't say I don't release you, but you are a member of our family. Okay, you are. Um, my husband's telling me the baby that is born needs me. I'm coming. Yeah, but they need to hear this story. Yes, I'm coming. I'm coming. Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
okay. Anyone? Any questions? Yeah, I think.
Uh,
Yeah. I'll just look at the questions. Just give me 1 minute. You, Sneha, you can speak. I'll just
yeah.
take a minute. 1 second.
Megan, you should have asked that her doctor
I
how.
would, I would like to say something.
Yes. Yes, Sneha. Yes, Tapasya. Sorry.
Um,
Hi, Tapasya. Sorry.
Hi, hi. Lots of love to you. um, I made that visit to Mumbai. That was a wonderful women's circle, and one face, two eyes that were saying, I want to do something, but I don't know how. And those eyes, they just touched my heart. And I was like, this is a different woman. She can totally do it. Why is she confused? Why is she listening to people who don't matter? And lately, I want to tell you all, Sneha and I have been through a lot. I have seen stillbirths. Sneha had seen a couple of traumatic births. We were rethinking, should we continue this work or just stop working? Experiences were really bad. Yesterday only one family came, asked us that you guys are doing illegal work, how are you charging so much money? All kind of nasty stuff said to us lately. All this is like really bad. But if by doing this work I could help, or I could, inspire one Meagan in a lifetime, my work would be worth it totally. I mean, if I could serve a woman who wants to know what autonomy looks like in birth, and even if I attend one birth in 3 months or 6 months, or one birth just in a year, that would be totally worth. And we've been taking a lot of, I don't know what, bad vibes and lots of bad stuff inside. But People like you, Megan, you guys act as our healers. Your stories heal us. And it's not nothing that we have done anything great. It's that you are the beacons, you are the lighthouses who have shown us why we work and why we should continue this work. And thank you for that. And thank you for your courage. Because now you have a daughter, and your daughter will never be afraid of giving birth.
Yes.
And that is what is more important for our next generations, where almost a generation is getting born with a C-section.
Yes.
We need people who are going to say, no, I was born vaginally, I was born at home, my mother did it, my mother showed the courage to go against doctor's advice.
Right.
And these are the people who are going to show the path. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing your story. So much of love.
Thank you so much, Tapasya. Also, I want to mention one thing. Uh, Actually, two things. I'm going to mention that. The first thing is, in all of this, in the middle of my second daughter passing, I was doing the Montessori birth to three course. Okay, uh, just before, no, actually after she passed away, I had to watch two two people give birth. Actually, that was part of the course requirement. So when I made this choice for a home birth, it was not just based on my own experience birthing in a hospital, which was two C-sections. It was also watching a normal delivery in a hospital and a C-section in a hospital. And it was extremely traumatic. I we had to go there and we had to have no expression, like we had to be a wall. We had to just stand, because first of all, they're giving you permission to even be there, which is huge. If I didn't get this permission and I didn't see two births, I would not have completed the course requirements. I would have not got my certification. So here I am. Okay, it was very traumatic even doing this course, because I've just lost my my baby, and I'm reading all about nursing mothers and lactation and what you should do with a baby. And we had a whole setup for a baby, and we had these baby toys as models for our work. And here I am, a grieving mom, in doing this course. But I just put one foot in front of the other every day, went, did this course. But there was this thing about watching two births. And by God's grace, there was this hospital which said, okay, a BMC hospital which said, okay, come and see, because they realized we were really genuine. We were doing it with Ratan Tata Institute, and we would not get this qualification if we didn't see two births. So they're like, okay, chalo, aajao. So I'm grateful for that. But they have a government hospital. C-sections, because the ideology, right? Once a C-section, always a C-section. So on Monday, the doctor is only doing C-sections morning to evening. That's the whole thing. Okay, and I'm talking about just one particular government hospital. So you can imagine government hospitals everywhere. So they're like, acha, there'll be a C-section at this time, you come. So I go, and I'm waiting. They bring the lady in. The whole operation happens. It was so traumatic to see this, because the assistant is doing it, and then she's not able to get the baby out. So then the other doctor steps in, and he's pulling the baby out with forceps through the womb. And you're like, wow, the first thing the baby touches is not human hands even, but this machine pulling the head out of the womb. It was, I mean, we had to not show any emotion, but I was like this. Okay, even though I try to once again remember, oh, my hands up on my head, put my hands down, and again my hands will go up on my head, holding my head, because it's like looking at her and thinking, how is this woman still alive? You look above, she's alive, she's breathing, and down it's like, a butcher shop, like blood spilling everywhere, muscles, everything. And I'm like, what? And then you think, oh, they will put the baby on the mother's chest, because that's what they do in Montessori. Can do that even in a C-section, but they don't. But the baby is not put on the mother's chest. The baby is rushed out, washed, cleaned, put in something, okay, taken away from the mother. And that poor helpless lady is just standing there, lying down there, getting stitched up. So traumatic to watch this. And then now I have to see another birth, and preferably a different sort of environment. So I request, can you please let me see a natural delivery? So they're like, okay, no problem. In fact, now only there's one mother who is having contractions. Maybe she will have you can stay. So we don't know how long, how many hours, but I say, okay, getting a chance, might as well see both and get this requirement for my certification done. At that point, I was only thinking of getting my certification done. But now when I look back, I'm thinking, you know, like that those experiences also helped me to make a informed choice, because I'm sitting there now watching a normal delivery. On the walls of the hospital are written all these beautiful words: you should put the baby on the mother's chest, skin to skin contact is very important immediately, the baby should be fed mother's milk. I'm thinking, wow, a government hospital is finally going to do this, is actually doing it, what we are studying is going to be implemented, the baby will be put on the mother's chest, the mother will be listened to, the mother will hopefully be allowed to move. Everything is written very beautifully on the walls of this delivery room. But what I saw was something different altogether, Sneha. I kid you not. I'm standing there trying to be a wall, and um, they are literally taunting her, like asking her, so what is your husband's occupation? Husband was a Swiggy driver. What do? Oh, you're working as a housewife. Oh, and sometimes you work as a didi. Oh, okay. They're laughing about it, and they're like, Acha, if the baby is not coming fast enough, we are sending you for C-section. Okay, the baby has to come fast enough, and they are telling her when to push. They are giving her pitocin. You think, oh, so many people around a woman, such a supportive environment, but when you listen to the conversations, and the poor lady is trying to smile through it all and be nice and not be a nuisance, exactly like how I was trying to be in my second. Okay, there's Vijay for those who want to see. Say hi.
Hi, mother was not coming fast enough, so the baby came.
Okay, so she needs me. But we can talk and I'll still be with her. But it was traumatic. And then the assistant is with the woman the whole time. The doctor just comes in right at the end. He doesn't tell her I'm doing an episiotomy. He just does it, and she's screaming, and the baby's head is literally pulled out. Okay, when we know that this is not supposed to be. Baby's head is pulled out, and again I'm just thinking, I have to be a wall. My hands can't be on my head. I have to just be calm in my life, and just like, I can't scream, I can't say anything, I can't try to help the lady. We were strictly instructed, we can't do anything. And then they don't even put the baby on the mother's chest. I'm thinking, oh, they wrote this on the wall, they will do it. That writing on the wall is for the wall. What happens is different. So the baby is taken away from the mother, and something else only is going on. And my God, I was like, this happens. This, like, we don't realize, but women are literally treated like a car on a ramp. We just do what we want to do, and you should be just grateful for this help. That's it. This is our medical system. This is the maternity system. And that experience, okay, made me want to realize that, okay, I have to use my brain, I have to use my instinct. One more thing, when I did go for a checkup to a gynec after baby was born, she need not have been, but she was very roughly checking me. And I realized that's also because they don't like this. They don't like that you delivered at home. They don't like this whole home birth idea. And it's one thing to read about it, it's another thing to experience. The way she checked me, I was like, my goodness. Okay. I could feel that she was absolutely unhappy. She was like, why did you have to give birth at home? She interrogated me. And even when she had to check me, she was quite rough. And for women giving birth at home, had a haircut months after baby was born. And the guy cutting my hair was like, I'm a single father. I said, we are single mothers, but single father, please don't mind, but please tell me your story, please. So he's like, actually, I was not there when my wife gave birth, and she gave birth at home. That was a big mistake. I'm like, what? Big mistake? Why? Yeah, she gave birth at home. And then the auntie took her to the hospital. The baby just came so fast, the baby came at home. When we took her to the hospital, she was fine. The whole night she was fine. Morning also she was fine. We spoke to her, everything was fine. But then around 11 o'clock, my aunt, who was with her, that man was supposed to reach his wife in the afternoon, like 2-3 in the afternoon. 11 o'clock, this auntie decides to leave this man's wife alone in the hospital and go home for lunch. By 11:30, 12, they get the news she passed away. She was 23. They had just been married for a year. I was in shock. And the only reason for her passing was, she had the baby at home. That is why she passed away. But the man's like, see, even I'm confused. I spoke to her in the night, she was fine. I spoke to her in the morning, she was fine. And he's like, I spoke to her, I told her I'm coming. Left wherever he was on his way in the train coming back. Okay, he had gone for some course on hair cutting. He's in the salon work. He was supposed to be back with his wife at 2. I don't know what happened in that half an hour. When the aunt went for lunch, the wife was alone in the hospital for half an hour. She passed away. How is that possible? And they're blaming it on the homebirth. So I'm sharing this because some women here may decide to give birth at home and decide to go to the hospital after that. Please do not leave the woman alone, because I mean, I'm not trying to frighten anybody here, but I felt like, my goodness, we have to be careful. We have to be very careful. Okay, so I'm so grateful once again to Sneha and Tapasya, and what and she'll be grateful too when she grows up and tell her the story.
Thank you so much, Meagan. Oh. So there's a question regarding Montessori course. So if you want, you can share it in the group, our WhatsApp group, about the Montessori course. So there are some sisters who would like to know about it, and that's
Okay,
it.
so
Uh,
see,
question.
Montessori is a fabulous, beautiful philosophy. I would suggest, if you're interested, read her books first, and then if you want to be a Montessori teacher, she wrote actually, and she worked for disadvantaged children, and she worked with them so well, and they were doing so well that she said, why can't normal children do well like this? So then we have Montessori schools now, which work. She worked with the 3 to 6 age group. Now there is even Montessori birth to 3, because they said, okay, so what would it be like Montessori education for a birth to 3 child? Now when you're studying birth to 3, you won't study from birth, you will study from before birth. So our work actually starts, we study conception, what happens to the baby inside.
Yeah.
Then we study uh, how the process of birth impacts the child, what is the best procedures after birth, which actually Sneha and all, you are actually doing it already.
Yeah.
And then the environment for the child, what toys to give the child, what order of mobiles to give the child, uh, till they are 3. And when we realized that we are working with a child birth to 3, that child is different than a child coming straight away to the Montessori environment at 3. So they are already halfway done with what we are doing with 3 to 6 child. We have to treat them like a 5-year-old when they come at 3, because they are so mature, know how to put stuff back, take things off the shelf, handle everything in an orderly manner. So there is a lot of information. You can just look it up, Ratan Tata Institute, and the lady who does it, Vibhuti by name, she's just amazing. She's the only trainer in India. Vibhuti, she
Okay.
was my mentor,
Okay.
and she's really good. So you can just look it up. And I
Okay.
mean, you can ask me information, or you can
Sure.
get my contact details from Sneha for this.
Yeah. And there's last question. What week did this girl was born? I think it was 40 weeks, 39,
39 or 40 weeks, yeah.
39 or 40 weeks. Yeah.
Yes.
So with that, we end the story session. Thank you so much, Meagan, for sharing your life. It was your life that you have shared with us, and we were glued to your story. Thank you so much. I'm more than honored to be a part of your journey, and I'm always there for this little girl, inshallah. Yeah. So thank you so much. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.